Hey everybody, welcome to another round of Canje Plays, and today we are going to teach Gloom and Kilforth. This is a different video than what I'm kind of used to doing. Usually I just dive in, we play the game, we have a good time. But there's been a lot of questions that Steven and I seen on the Facebook page, on the Hall or Nothing Productions Discord, as well as the just questions that are asked in my Discord, questions that are asked in other Discords about Kilforth, and just questions about how to play, especially for new people coming in and not really sure how to pick up the game. Hey, Kate, what's going on? Welcome. Pull up a chair. Pull up a chair. You know your chair is always ready. So we are going to get into a tutorial of how to play it. And I know a lot of people have asked me, I spoke with one of my friends and they said, why not just record it? Because I don't record video. I do it live. I like to interact with all of you. I'm here to answer any questions. Steven was going to hop in and join in as well for question answering, but he had to work today, so he's not able to make it, but that's okay. I will try to do him proud. But this is my number one favoriteest game of all time, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So it might not be everybody's, but it's mine. So we're going to get into a tutorial of how to play. I'm going to go from opening box to everything else, right? I don't have a brand new box because I've played this game a ton. However, I'm just going to kind of go through how to do a setup, how turns work. We're going to just walk through it all so you can see how to play the game from when you buy the game and you get it and open it up, minus unwrapping all the plastic, to just kind of getting your first session going and stepping through each phase. Like I said, this isn't going to be a playthrough. It's just going to be us sitting down, talking, working through this stuff, and we're going to have a good time. I know a lot of people said that this should be recorded. I don't want to record it. I want to do it live. I want to play with you all at the table. I want to teach you all how to play the game. And when you do a recording, when someone who's played the game or someone who hasn't, or someone's like, well, what about this question? They put it in the comments, and then it's a later answer. Where here, you should be able to just ask me right away. I've got chat up, so I can pull up the questions and answer them as you need. All right. So the beautiful music you heard coming in was done by Francesca Hall, which is Tristan's wonderful, amazing partner and wife, and it's just fantastic that she is so crazy talented. So hopefully she'll make some more music for the Kilforth series and we can enjoy it all. But it was just all so wonderful. Anyway, information table, and then we can do this thing, right? So Gloom and Kilforth came out in 2017. So it's got some age on it. 7.6 on Board Game Geek. It's a sandboxy game for people who are like, well, what type of game is it? It's a fantasy sandbox adventure with a time limit. So you're not walking around forever. You got a time limit. You got 25 turns to beat the ancient, or you lose the game, and then you get to, do it again. 1 to 4 players, so you can play up to 4 players. And the way that, and I'll explain kind of how turns work in multiplayer as well as single player. Mostly, it's all really the same, but I just want to make sure I explain that, so if people who are like, oh, me and my partner are going to play this game, or me and my gaming group, or me and my friends are going to play this game, that they understand how turns work between everybody. So we're going to go through all of that. We're going to talk about a ton of stuff. But 1 to 4 players. Community says 1 to 2, and best played 1 player. I love the game 1 player, but you can play 1 player multi-handed. You can do it any way you want, and we'll talk about all that. 60 to 180 minutes. Of course, the stream's going to go longer. Community says 12 plus. Yeah, I agree. If you get the there's a expansion that has like, and I say racy art, but it's not racy. Like, it's not naked people. It just shows more skin. So, for instance, you'll have an angel with wings and she'll have like a full shirt on. Well, the racy one is that, okay, it's just a halter top and you see her stomach. But that may be offensive to people, so that option is offered as a side. You don't need it. It doesn't add any content to the story. And I'll even talk about what you want, what you get, all that other stuff. Weight's about a 3.11 out of 5, so we'll go through all of that. It's got some age on it. Looks over a closet holding games my parents have grown up with. Oh no, Robert! No, 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 no. Skyrim is going to be coming back. So, just so people are aware who are just kind of being like, hey, when are you going to play this other game that I saw you playing again? So to be able to play the tidal wave of delivering Kickstarters that just all decided to just kind of hear everything at once, I have to be a little bit more intelligent about the playthroughs. So what does that mean? That means that Tuesdays I'm gonna play. I have 4 games, so I'll be every Tuesday. It'll be one of those 4 each month, right? So for instance, Frostpunk. Let's say the first Tuesday of the month I play Frostpunk. The first Tuesday of next month I'll play Frostpunk. So let's say the second Tuesday I played I don't know what's the other one I got on my list. I was playing something else. Skyrim. So let's say the second Tuesday I play Skyrim. The second Tuesday I'll play Skyrim of the next month, and so on and so forth. So those 4 games are on a rotation basis to where I get to play them all each month. And I usually play long, right? So it's not like you'll see one like me play like a piece of a scenario and then you're stuck for another month. I usually play a big scenario so you could get a filling of it, and then I do the next one afterwards. Make sense? So it's the only way that I can make it. I can play these games I want to play and not get bogged down in playing one game forever until I beat the campaign. As games complete, or I decide that I don't want to play that one anymore, then another game will take its place and we'll go through. So, for instance, if you see on the channel, when I did my big talk about that I'm stopping playing Oathsworn, Hoplomachus came in. So now Hoplomachus is going to take Oathsworn's place in the rollout, if that makes sense. What do we got here? I see some cool people coming in. Frederick, what's going on? Hello, everyone. A few minutes late, so chipmunk speed until I catch up, still separating Gloom from Shadows. Robert, curious, were you in on the Kickstarter for League of Dungeoneers? Yes, I am in on the Kickstarter, and I'm waiting for it to deliver so that I can play it, because I'm super pumped for that. So what's going on, Greg? Hey, what's going on, Yogi? I have a really dumb question. What is the difference between Gloom of Kilforth and Shadows of Kilforth? Oh, so you ask. That is such a good question. Did I turn off the chat overlay on this? Oh, it's on the other screen, that's why. Let's go to the table. There it is. There's that question. It was on the other screen. I'm such an idiot. So, yeah, that's not a dumb question. So the difference between Gloom of Kilforth and Shadow of Kilforth are a few things. 1, Gloom of Kilforth deals with a more fantasy, well-known D&D-esque fantasy theme. Shadows of Kilforth is more an Eastern theme. There's a lot of Eastern themes that are built into it. For instance, your starting location is the Monoshoba Shrine. There's a lot of I keep saying Eastern because I don't want to offend anybody, right? But there's a lot of Eastern themes in that one. There are different. The ancients are completely different. There's more heroes to play. There's more sagas that are different, and even the 25 locations are completely different. So it's a standalone game, but you can put the two together, which Steven has done, to play like a big, massive game of Kilforth, which I'm probably going to do because Steven demands it. So I must do what Steven demands. Alright, so that's the difference. It's the themes. The themes are different. Just like Hall of Kilforth is about pirates and sailing and ocean voyages, that's a different theme. So that's the shake to it. There's also different modes of play. Shadows of Kilforth comes with Couch of Death, which is hard mode, and just different variants that you can play with. Shadows of Kilforth also comes with factions. So in Gloom of Kilforth, there are no factions, but when you get Shadows, there is the Rosen Knights and the Doom Guard. And based on which faction you pick, Knight cards act differently towards you, so it has that added bonus of that. Hopefully that answered that question. Let's see. Yes, it does look awesome. I'm super pumped for it. Cynthia! What's going on? Cynthia, Kate, and I tomorrow will be starting our campaign of Edge of the Earth for Arkham Horror LCG, and I'm super pumped for it. Brian, is this the How to Die tutorial? If it has dice in it, the answer to that is yes. So let's see. Let's see. No, that's tomorrow. Yeah. They're probably so. Last time, both of them had to pull my salt-soaked body corpse out of the ocean. Now they're probably gonna pull my frost-bitten corpse out of the snow. It's just a theme. They're saving my life all the time. That's amazing. All right, so we're here for a tutorial on this. I've got both here. If you're just saying you're buying Gloom, this is all you're gonna get. If you say you want Gloom plus the Pimp My Gloom stuff, this is what you're going to get. And we'll talk about the differences between the two. All this adds is, when you first get this game and you open it up, and we'll do an unboxing. You're going to get a rules sheet, kind of like a quick reference sheet for Gloom and Kilforth, right? You'll get some advertisements, or advertisements, whichever is your proclivities. And then there are going to be extra reference sheets for everybody else at the table who are like, hey, I want my own reference sheet. So you get that stuff. You get a lovely rule book with it that I'm going to put off to the side, but we're going to go through that. One of the big things that you do get here is you get this, okay? So basically, these are the heroes. There's no miniatures. Thank you, Tristan. There's no miniatures, there's just these cardboard pieces of the heroes that you can play. And, let me zoom in here so you can see. If you look, these heroes are all the same, right? So it's not double-sided, it's not male-female, it's just what you see here is this set. If you get the Pimp My Gloom expansion, hey look, you get all the other heroes and classes that are on there as well as the ancients, right? So you get all those tokens. That's the difference. Alright, so you've opened up your game. It looks nothing like this because, you organize your stuff better than I do. And you get a set of things. You get these, which is basically health tokens, right? Red is health, black is actions. And we'll talk about that as we get into it. So you get those in a bag and you put them off to the side. You get these yellow things. So what the hell are these? Well, these are coins. This is what considered gold. You can use these or you can use dice, whichever makes you feel good. So, but you get those. You put those off to the side. Then you get these, which looks like this weird, cloud symbol and this weird-looking broccoli symbol. Well, the broccoli is actually a tree that basically says that this is how, if you're hidden, this is your hidden token. Notice there are only 4 of them. And this is if there's an obstacle. That's what these are. So if you ever have to place an obstacle, those go on there. But you put those off to the side. Then you get the thing that's going to kill you. You get these dice. And these dice, you don't get as much as this, because I've actually combined the dice from the extra dice that you get from Pimp My Gloom and the ones that you get from Gloom and Kilforth. They're just typical D6s. There's nothing stupendous about them. It's just dice, right? So you get to choose which dice you want to roll. It doesn't matter. They're all going to fail you, and you're all going to roll like me. I'm just kidding. You're going to roll better than me. You're going to get these lovely bow ties. I'm lying. These are hourglasses. And what they're going to look like is they're going to be, what these are called is fate. So you're going to start the game with 4 fate, and we'll do a full setup. And you use these, and you can only use these, first rule, you can only use these once per round. Hey, Cam, what's going on? Hello. You can only use these once per round, full round, to mitigate, to add a success to something. So, for instance, if you needed 3 successes and you rolled 2, you could use one of these to get the 3rd success. We'll talk about all that in setup. I'm just breaking stuff down. In this lovely bag, because this bag is what comes with the Pimp My Gloom. It's a bigger bag. In the base game, you ain't going to get that, so get your own bag. Inside this bag, you're going to get a bunch of these punch-out tokens, right? They'll come on a cardboard thing that you pop out and you drop it in the bag. These are your loot. So basically, you get loot for certain things that you do within the game. You throw them in here, mix them up, and you get them, and I'll walk through setup of those as well. Stands that you get for if you don't stream and people look down on your table. Well, you know, not judgy, but just look down on your table. These are to put those stands on if you want to do standees. And then you get these tokens here, which are considered target tokens, right? Notice that there is a blue, green, red, and yellow for player. Big whoop. You get the first player marker. Hey, look, it says first hero on it. Not very surprising. But what you get also, let me see. Here we go. So here's the first distinguishing thing. You get these lovely locations. And after you finish, like, gushing over the beautiful art that you see here on the game, you then immediately go, hey, Matthew, what's going on? You immediately go and find card sleeves for these. And these are standard American sleeves that you can get for these, that you could put on, that will handle these sleeves. Now, if you have the Pimp My Gloom, and I'll pull those out. This is the bag that you get with the base game. This thing. I want you to notice the difference. Notice the difference between the bags. This is base game. This is Pimp My Gloom bag. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I have like Hulk hands, so this is how it fit. You know, the glove don't fit type of deal. But here, it's like, you know, you can stick your whole head in here. So just know these are the different things that you get. All right. So if you get the Pimp My Gloom expansion, what you get is you get these tarot size cards. So do you need tarot size cards? No. But if you get the play, they're just bigger. They're the exact same thing. Nothing is different. It's just instead of a regular standard playing card size location, you get a tarot size card location. So that is the difference. Okay, we're almost at the edge of what you get in Pimp My Gloom. Need, yeah. In board gaming, it's never about need; it's about want. So if you want the bigger, larger locations with the art really spread out, you can get that, and then that'd be fine. But what you get is on both either or, you get these different locations that are considered 25 locations, right? You do then need a tarot-sized table. The floor works fine. There's plenty of room on the floor for every board game. The floor works fine. So, you get 25 locations, right? So, you get Sprawl City. Then you get a Plains location. And it's known as Plains because if you look in this here, you see that symbol there? That is a Plains symbol. And the game even breaks down that it's easier for you to figure out. The next one that you get is called Forest locations. Notice, there is a symbol of a forest. Go figure. And there's different types of symbols of forests and plains. I'm going to get to the next one. Next, you get mountain locations. So they have the symbol of the red mountain on it. Take note of these colors. We're going to talk about what those colors mean. And finally, boom, you get Badland locations. So these are the Badland locations. They're basically swamp locations, but the art's still awesome. I got 8 yellow skull tokens left after separating Gloom from Shadows. Could you not find them in any lists? You know which box they go into. The red, yellow, green, and blue go into Gloom and Kilforth, and the others go into Shadows. So there are 4 each. 4 per. Frederick, just to let you know. So there are 4. You got 8 yellow tokens left. 4 of them, 4 of yellow, 4 of red, 4 of green, and 4 of blue go into Gloom and Kilforth. All right. So these 4 locations, there's going to be. So you're of these different locations, you're going to get 25 cards total, including Sprawl. Right. This is the land of Kilforth. And I'm going to start moving stuff out of the way so I can start doing setup. But this is the land of Kilforth. I'm not even using my mat today, only because not everybody's going to have a game mat, and I want you all to be able to see, if you don't have a game mat, how this stuff shakes out. So, in the land of Kilforth, where evil dwells, you have 25 locations. The first thing you need to do your setup, Sprawl City. Always center of the table. Always, always, always. This is the center location. So then after that, you take all the other locations and you give them a shuffle. All the 24 other locations. And you give them a lovely, lovely shuffle. And then you randomly place them in a 5x5 grid. All right. All 8. I have 4 in Gloom and 4 in Shadows already. Oh, you got some. You probably got some extra from the Pimp My collection. That's why. So yes, just split them up. So you give these a shuffle, and then what you want to do is you want to create yourself a 5x5, 5 row by 5 column grid. You can put these in any way, any orientation that you want, as long as the image is facing you. Okay, so any location in that 5x5 grid, and this is the reason why I use the mat, because it's easy to keep it. So basically, you just start placing anywhere you want. It doesn't matter. You're building out the land to Kilforth to your grand designs, and it is beautiful. Somehow in here, I'll make this a 5x5. So there's my 5. And if you're spatially challenged like me, this is going to trigger a lot of people's OCD. And I'm just helping set up, so you'll be all right. All right, so then put here. You just place them wherever you feel. Place them where it feels good. Da 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 da. All right, and let's straighten these up, because Bob here? If Bob's here, I gotta straighten it up, or else he's gonna kill me. So this is where people's recorded video would start playing like music, and you'll see it speed up to like 3 times speed. They're not even. I don't care. Get over it. All right. So this is the land of Kilforth. It's already built out. Sprawl City's at the center, and then the world is built around you. Right. Let's go to the next item in the box. That you pull out is your heroes and your class. Doesn't really matter fighting OCD hard. So if I had the mat, it would probably make a lot of people feel better. But when you're first setting up, just set it up. If you do want things to be pixel perfect, do you? But basically, you get these starting heroes, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 heroes. They have very different races, right? So there's halflings, half elf, dark elf, orc, elf, human, half demon, werewolf, and vampire, and dwarf. But what's really cool about this, each token in every box, is when you turn it over, there's the female side of it too. So if you're saying, well, I don't want to play a guy halfling, well, just flip the card over and you'll play a female halfling. Nothing changes. Their stats don't shift. Their numbers don't shift on the side. They're the exact same between the male and female of the race. So don't feel like you're losing something because you pick a guy over a girl or anything like that. They're the exact same. It's just choice, right? Choice and inclusivity. So on your card, you're going to have 4 traits. you're going to have your fight, your study, your sneak, and your influence. And I gotta lower my hand down because it's getting tired. The fight is how you fight creatures, right? The number that's next to fight is how many dice you roll. So for the halfling, if I just go straight up against a creature just as a halfling, I'm only gonna roll 1 die. For a halfling, if I need to pass a study check, then I get to roll 3 dice. For the sneak, I get to roll 4 dice. And for the influence, I get to roll 2 dice. Every character also comes with a trait. This is a trait that is written at the bottom of their card. For instance, this one says Hero, Nimble. When you enter a Plains location or Sprawl City, you immediately become hidden. So if I go to a Plains location or Sprawl City, I gain the hidden trait. I become hidden. And we'll talk about what bonuses you get for hidden and what bonuses you don't get for hidden, right? You also have your starting money, which is 1 gold. You start off with 1 gold and you have 4 health. Okay? Each one of these characters' traits are different. So not all traits are the same. For instance, if you are a werewolf, you've got stronger fight. Your study kind of is bad because you're a werewolf. And your influence is a 2 because who wants to talk to a werewolf? If you're an orc, nobody wants to talk to an orc, so your influence is 1, but you can fight. And you have a very interesting ability that says, add a +1 to your test attribute value in each test against a humanoid. So if you fight someone with the humanoid trait, you get to add a die to any tested attribute value that you have. So you get to add +1, which means you roll +1 die. So you just basically select whichever one you're going to pick. For me, I'm gonna pick the Dark Elf. Why not? And I always pick the ladies, or any form of, I just do. I don't know why, even my World of Warcraft character. So hers has this ability here. So her fight is 2, her study's 3, her sneak is 4, and her influence is 1. Everyone starts with 4 health, and everyone starts with 1 coin. She has this ability that's called Deed Veil. So let's pause there for a second and talk about deeds. So what a deed is an ability that you have, right? Deed is like it's a free action. Think of deed as free action. You don't have to spend an action to deed. Okay? But you can only deed based on what it tells you to do. So instead of it saying free action, it says deed. What it also says is veil. All right? So when we talk about deed veil, what that means is exhaust. So free action, exhaust. So that's what deed veil means. There's another deed that's called deed sacrifice. If you see that, that means that you have to discard the card. No race has a deed sacrifice because you can't ditch your race of what you are. There are ways to do it, but not this way. So you'll either see it's an innate ability, which is a perfect one. It's an innate ability that says Hero, Agile. When breaking camp ends at a forest location, gain 1 AP. This happens no matter what. This is not anything that you have to deed veil. This is not anything that you have to deed sacrifice. It's just something you get. It's an innate trait. But for our Dark Elf, whenever we want to sacrifice an ally to heal 3 health, we exhaust her. What does that mean when you exhaust your character? Does that mean that you can no longer use her stats? No. All these stats that are here at the bottom are still available to you. You've just said that you've exhausted her ability for basically, okay? All right. So, any questions about race? Ask away. We're going to be moving into class now. So each race needs to have a class, and there's tons of classes to choose from. There are the Druid class. This comes in the Pimp My Gloom stuff. The Ranger, the Soldier, the Priest, the warrior, the bard, the war mage, the assassin, the rogue, the shaman, the wizard, and the scout. So, what's different? What's so special about these different classes? Well, if you're playing with base Gloom and Kilforth and not the Pimp My expansions, you are going to get... You're just going to get these 6 classes. This is all you get. These 6. But if you get the Pimp My Gloom, you get 6 more. Okay? So that's the difference between the 2 boxes right there. Base, extra. And it's extra variety. They're not all the same. They're all different, but there's some similarities. And that's how I was able to easily separate them because of their similar keywords. That's all. You're just getting more characters of the same keyword. We're going to get into that right now. So, when you pick a class, and I know this looks like this is like the light shining on it. It's not. That's actually the card art. See, if I switch to another one, you won't see it. All right, that's just the card art. So, what this does is this gives you a special ability, and it also bolsters some of your dice, some of your abilities, right? So remember, right now, our Dark Elf has 2 fight, 3 study, 4 sneak, and 1 influence. Well, I know I'm good on the sneak trait. Study seems to be pretty decent. Fight and the influence seems to suffer a little bit. So, study's okay. Sneak and study is okay. Fight and sneak, and then there's just fight, right? So let's say that we're going to make her a war mage. So, as a war mage, instead of having 2 fight, I'm going to get +1 to my fight, so it's 3, and +1 to my study. And I'm a war mage. I have the keyword arcane. Alright, so when we get the keywords, I'll talk about that. As a Deed Veil, free action exhaust, Fabric Rend. When an engagement starts, the enemy loses 1 HP and you lose 1 HP. Alright, here is where is an important factor when you're learning to play this game. When you choose your class, now I talked about, and this is the reason why I wanted to talk about this. So when I talk about these 2 abilities, remember I said free action Veil. When you do it on your race card, free action Veil, you still have access to all your traits that are here. When you do it on your class card and you Veil, you lose this. And it is for every other asset or card that you will have in play that when you free action Veil, you lose the buff that you get on here. So right now, let's say I'm about to fight a orc or something, or some creature. And I say, okay, well, I have Fabric Rend, so when an engagement starts, the enemy loses 1 HP, and you lose 1 HP. Cool. So I'm going to Veil this so the enemy loses 1 HP. Instead of being able to roll 3 dice, I'm only going to be able to roll 2. Very important piece, okay? So don't say, okay, well, I'll Veil and then I'll roll 3 dice. You can't. You can only roll 2. At the end of the day, when the day is over, you unveil and you get your cards back, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the night phase. I'm just stepping through this as methodically and as slowly as possible so everybody gets it. All right? So once again, when you Veil your race, you still have access to the abilities. When you Veil anything else, class, asset card, special ability, you lose those attributes until the end of the day. You can do that, Yogi. Yes, that is a very great question. Let me go ahead and pull it up. Oh, wait, you can't. You can't do it on this card. You cannot do it on this card. Let me tell you why. But it's a good question. If you have an ability, and I said yes only because asset cards allow you to do that. But if you have an ability to say, okay, well, Veil and the enemy takes 1 damage when you Veil that card, but it gives you an extra fight die. So let's say I have 2, 1, and then another card that gives me another fight, and I roll 4 dice. I can roll the 4 dice, and then I could Veil that card to deal it a damage. I can do that. However, you cannot do it with this card. And let me show you why. Because this card says, and I'm gonna keep the question up there so you can see. when an engagement starts. So you can't roll 3 dice and then veil for 1 more damage, because this only happens when you start the engagement, not during combat. Alright, so does that clarify that? If you're like, oh, well, I'll just fight and then veil, like Yogi was saying, instead, you cannot, because you can only do this veil when the fight starts, and then you lose the attribute. Alright, so be sure to read your cards very carefully, because if it says when an engagement starts, that's the only time you can use that. Don't just sit there and say, okay, well, I'm going to roll 3 dice and then boom, you can't. Alright? But there are cards that let you damage enemies in an engagement while it's going on. Alright, but great question. Keep the questions coming. I'm here to answer. Alright, so I'm gonna roll my sleeves up on this. So we have picked our race and we've picked our class. Now, remember I told you my class's keyword is arcane. What you do is you go to the little mini cards that I've got here all wrapped up with a rubber band, because I don't have a storage solution for this game yet. Tristan. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to these small mini cards that are on here. You're going to get 4 of them, 4 sets. 4 sets of 2, 4, 6, 8. 4 sets of 8 cards. One is going to say Shadow, and I'll zoom in here so you can see. So one's going to say Shadow. The next 8 will say Pious. The next 8 will say Arcane at the bottom. And the next 8 will say Martial. Alright. Oops, sorry. There you go. What you want to do is you want to look up the keyword of your class, which is Arcane, right? Mine is Arcane. And grab the 8 that say Arcane. These are your special abilities that you will unlock as you level up. Okay? So after you finish those, the rest of them return to the box. If you're playing multiplayer, give somebody else their specific keyword. Now, another big thing. If you decided to buy the Pimp My Gloom, and your other person that you're hanging with decides to go arcane as well. They're like, hey, I want to be a bard. So bard, veil, musician, add 1 success to an influence test at your location. So cool, I want to be able to do that. So I'm going to pick bard, and they have arcane as well. They can do this. What happens when you do this? And let me just grab... Where did I put those? Ah, here we go. Let's just say the other player is an elf and saying that they're a bard. So they're a bard, you're a dark elf, but you're a war mage and they're a bard, but you both have the arcane key symbols. You still get the same 8, right? But what you do is every time you level up, and we'll go through level up, but I'll talk about this right now. You still just grab the same arcane deck just fine. When you level up, you'll notice that there's 2 number 1 cards, right? So when you look at either one of these, and we'll get into this in the level up set, but when you look at one of these, you take one, they have to take the other. That's how you play the same class. So if you're like, ooh, this one looks cool, I'm going to take this one. So you take this away. They have to take this one when they level up. All right, so 2 people can play the same class. It's perfectly fine. It's just you got to deal with it. Now we're gonna leave. I think I'm gonna call this character. I don't know, somebody. Anyway, we'll come up with a name. So you take that, you put it off to the side, and if nobody else is playing, nobody else is Martial or Shadow, you take these and you return them to the box. You are done ski with all of that. Okay. So now I've got my race, my class, my talents as I level up, what I'm going to do, the land set up. What you're then going to do is you're going to grab you are, what, a bard? Here you are. You're going to grab your 2 tokens. They look like your class. So if you have the base game, they look like your class. If you have the Pimp My Gloom, they look like any card you want, because Tristan made one for any. But in the base game, you just get the class pictures, right? So we're going to stick with those for this example. you're going to take your 2 class and you're going to slam them right here on Sprawl City. Boom. That's where you start. Everybody starts in the Sprawl. I have to watch this later, but I have you running, sir. Seem to be doing a phenomenal job. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Hey, Jerry, what's going on? Hey, Tobold, what's up? Pull up a chair. So you start off in the city. Then, we're still doing setup here. Do you start with 1 skill card? No, you start with none. You don't have any skill cards until you level up, Frederick. Great question. So let me pull this up, and let's talk about this. So Frederick asks, do you start with 1 skill card? Nope, you start with nothing. You are no one in the lands of Kilforth. Hey, Azariel, what's going on? So all these just get put off to the side. You don't get them. Your friends don't get them. Nobody gets them until you level up. And I'll talk about leveling up. Coming up pretty soon. So then what you do is you look at your health. Remember I said everybody starts with 4 health. So you grab 4 red hearts and give them to each player. I was going to do the Rodney Smith thing, the reverse Rodney Smith of saying, multiplayer, I'll leave you to discover on your own. But no, I want to show it all. So you grab 4 for each player. And you grab 4 actions. Oh, look, something seems familiar about this. And you give those to each player. Because this is going to be the big part of the mechanic. So you grab 4 of those, and you give them to each player as well. Then you close that up, put it away for right now. You give each player 4 fate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because that's how much they start with. 1, 2, 3, 4. Every player gets 4, and you have enough fate for 4. So every player gets 4 fate. And every player gets 1 gold, because that is the baseline for every base character of Gloom and Kilforth. So you start off with 4 health, 3, 4, 4 actions for the rule of 4s, right? 4 fate, but 1 gold. Ta-da! That's your starting character. Now, let's go to the next set of cards that we're going to run through. Why is your character doing what they are doing? I'm not ready for the ancient. Well, yeah, let's do the ancient first. We'll do the ancient first, and then we'll do we'll get into. So fate are bow ties. Fancy. They're hourglasses. They're hourglasses, but they can also be bow ties. Can you get more than 4 fate, or is it the max? You can get more than 4 fate. Great question, Frederick. There are ways in this game to get more fate and also regain fate. So you can get more fate than 4. Always dressed to impress. Yeah, you can get more than 4 fate, but you have to find the cards that let you do it. Alright, so, why are we doing all of this? Why did we come to Kilforth? What the heck are we doing here in the first place? And why is Canje talking? I'm trying to choose both games, but they're not widely available in my country. Azariel, check with Tristan, see if there's a way that he might be able to, you can purchase it from the UK store and he can ship it to you. So I'd probably say check with Tristan, go to the All or Nothing production site. Just message him. The guy is super friendly, and feedback is really quick. I mean, when he's awake, right? Because UK time. But he should be able to get back to you, and maybe y'all can work something out to where he can ship it to you. I mean, I think it's possible. I messaged him today. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, they do international shipping. Yeah, so you should be fine to be able to get it. Alright, so why are we in Kilforth on this map that is not in line at all and making everybody with OCD twitch? Well, so we are here because Gloom is spreading. There is an ancient evil. Cue Thundercats music. But there's an ancient evil that's moving, that is turning the land into gloom, right? And you have 25 days to stop it, or gloom takes over the land, you lose the game. Now, how do you halt the main villain of the game, which we have not seen yet, and this is the third standalone expansion coming out, and we haven't seen the main villain yet. But the main villain has sent out his lieutenants, which are called the Ancients. And these Ancients are they are the ones that are spreading the gloom across the land. So if you defeat the Ancient, you save Kilforth. Alright? So, in the base game, you get 4 Ancients. What do we got? My problem relies on more custom since Brexit. Yeah. That sounds like my home HOA. Oh my gosh. Unfortunately, due to Brexit, I'm paying €35 on customs duties to get ISS Vanguard. Wow. Brexit. No comment. Brian and I talk about that a lot. All right. So when you first get the when you first get the game, you get just the core game. You get 4 Ancients. You get Zoom. You get the Abyss of Penance. You get the Marquis of Pain. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, whenever I see him, that's all I think about. I got you for 5 minutes. The Deacon of Betrayal. All cuddly people. All cuddly people. Or the Prince of Ruin. It is ruined. Or the Prince of Ruin. Now, one of the things I want y'all to know, notice that it's 4 of them. 4 of them, right? Well, the 4 of them, notice that there are 4 different location types. They are spreading the gloom, and furthering their plot in that location type. So, for instance, it's going to sound confusing, but here's how it goes. Hey, Bob! So, the Prince of Ruin appears, basically is spreading the gloom from the old wood in forest locations. So, you can see that very easily right here. He spawns in the old wood. That's where he shows up. That's where he is. He is a Prince of Ruin. He is an ancient demon. He's got 10 health, and he's going to roll 7 dice against you when you fight him. It's going to hurt. Hey, Steven. So, and if you defeat him, you get 10 gold, but after you defeat him, the game's over anyway, so yay. Alright, so, unless you play multiplayer, which we're going to go over. But he is a forest ancient. The Abyss is a Badlands ancient. The Marquis of Pain is a mountain ancient. And the Deacon of Betrayal is a plains ancient. So the reason why those are there is because each ancient is spreading they're basically spreading their plot. They're building their plot to take over the world. And that comes in the form of these plot cards. At the back it says plot on it. So these plot cards, every single time their location is drawn from the night deck, and we'll walk through all of that, I'm just letting you know, I'm going to briefly touch it here, and then when we get into the night deck and when we get into Gloom, I'm going to go into more detail. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Just popping in to say hi. I wanted to like this game. The art is amazing, but the rulebook wasn't great, and I found it a bit too random at the time. I know people that enjoy it, though. I thoroughly love it, Paul. This is my favorite game of all time. But I understand. I understand a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people don't like it, and I get it. Hey, I respect that, man. If it wasn't for you, it wasn't for you. But I get it. Bob, I'm leaving that alone. So every single time the location that they are tied to comes in, not the specific location, but the location type, like a plains location, then he will spread his plot at that location, right? So to start off, when you're playing solo, you pick 1. When you're playing 2-player, you pick 2. When you're playing 3-player, you pick 3. When you're playing 4-player, you play with all of them. So remember, our tutorial here is going through 2-player. Both of them are arcane. So we have to pick 2 of them. My favorite is the Abyss of Penance. She is hecka hard, but she is amazingly fun to play. So I'm going to pick her. So she's going to be the ancient that the Dark Elf has to take down. For the Bard, I'm going to go with the Marquis of Pain. So the Marquis of Pain is going to be his Ancient that he has to take down. Now, let's pause here for a second, because I know some questions are going to flood in about how to win the game and how to do all this. So, first thing. If you're playing co-op, this game can be played two ways, competitive or co-op. Competitive is a race against each other, and you're trying to screw each other over, and the first person to defeat their Ancient wins. That's competitive. Co-op, you have to defeat both Ancients to win. Alright, I'm getting a weird glare. Sorry. No, that didn't do it. I don't know why I'm getting that weird glare. That's going to bother me. Anyway. So I have to be able to defeat both these Ancients with both these heroes since I'm playing co-op, because we like co-op. Very few changes are without any downsides. Oh. How do you win this? How do you do all of this? So, how do you exist? How do you do that? You just gestured at all of me, Bob. How do things happen in Kilforth? So I have to be able to defeat both of these with these heroes. Now, here's the difference. One, if I'm playing competitive, once I finish my saga, which we'll talk about next, I then have to defeat my Ancient, and I'm the first to do it. You suck. I win. Ta-da. If you are playing co-op, stop it, Steven. I haven't gotten there yet. We're still doing setup. Work with me here. So basically, when you're playing co-op, both of them have to be on the board. How do both of them get on the board in co-op? Both people have to complete their sagas. And so with that, let's get into sagas. So, you are on the trail of one of the Ancient that you are targeting. You're on the trail of the Ancient. You're trying to find out where they are. Because you are the GM of the game looking from top down. You know where their location is, but your hero doesn't. Your hero has no idea where they are. So the only way to know or to find where the Ancient is to go through what's called a saga. And in this game, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sagas. Do you have to go through all of them? No. You pick one. You pick one saga, and once you complete your saga, my saga consists of my gaining keywords, work, hustle, don't. So once you complete your saga, that's when you discover where the Ancient is. There are 10 sagas. You do not have to do all 10. You just have to pick one. All right, so each saga has a completely different story, a completely different victory trophy at the end that you get to be able to power yourself up to face the Ancient, and just differences altogether. So what you do is you lay them out, take a read on all of them, and then choose which ones you're going to do. For Mr. Bard, we're going to do Escort Being. So we'll take that saga and put it over there. And for Miss Dark Elf, we're going to do Trap Godhead. Yes, Trap Godhead. I picked the right one. The rest of them, you put away, and if you choose to return to the land of Kilforth, pick a different one. But you start off with this. Each saga has 4 chapters and a finale. So each saga, chapter for my Dark Elf, Trap Godhead, Saga Chapter 1. This is the flavor text. To complete this saga, you need to spend 5 gold and spend an action that's called a regale action, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the keywords that you need to be able to complete the saga are Badlands, Quest, and Title. I want you to pay very close attention to the colors. Badlands, Quest, and if it's 1 to 2 player title, If it's 3 to 4 player, it's just Badlands or quests that you need, right? This is only for 1 to 2 player. After you complete your chapter 1, we'll talk about what happens there, but then you will flip it to chapter 2 and do the same thing. Then you'll go to chapter 3, do kind of the same thing with the different keywords that you need. Chapter 4, same. So for some people, same thing with the keywords that you need. And then finally you go to your finale. You have to go to the location of your finale, which will be listed at the bottom. And then once you defeat your finale, you flip the card over and you get your trophy. And then if you're playing, and then basically you fight your ancient, right? If both sagas are completed. So once again, if both sagas are completed, the ancients appear. If one saga is completed, you can help them complete their saga by doing trade actions and doing what it is. But until both sagas are completed in co-op, the ancients remain hidden. What do we got here? We got a question from Frederick. Do the ancients have a saga that is extra connected to it, or are they completely standalone? The ancients have plot cards that are completely dedicated to that ancient that works through their machinations of doing things. Your saga is basically finding out, solving a problem, and it leads to finding out where they are. So no, the ancients do not have a saga. They have plots that you have to get through. All right. So with our saga set, our heroes start in Sprawl. With our sagas set, our health set, we're ready to play. So let's pop open the Knight deck. So around the combat. I haven't put out the other cards. That's why y'all are like, where are your locations? Don't worry, we're getting there. We're getting there. So this game is played over a series of rounds. 25 rounds total. Once this Knight deck runs out, you lose the game. There's really no other way to lose the game other than the Knight deck running out. This is your loss condition. This is your own, well, this or you fight the ancient and it kills you. So this is one of the 2 ways that you lose the game. If the Knight deck runs out, you lose the game. When you face the ancient, if the ancient kills you, you lose the game. So what you do is you take the Knight cards and you shuffle them up, and they say Knight cards on them, so you won't be confused. I say play with the plots, man. It's the only way to learn. I wouldn't recommend for new players to avoid using the plots. When I started, I used them, and I actually got used to them. Like it helped with the mechanic, because I think like when you decide to add a plot, it's going to confuse you. Like you'll be like, okay, so what am I supposed to do? So my recommendation actually would be to play with the plot cards. Otherwise, you're just going to kind of, I don't know. I like them. I like the dynamic they add. So you shuffle your Knight deck, and you put your Knight deck up top. All right, so your Knight deck is set. Now we're only going to play beginner mode. I'm not going to play intermediate mode where some lands already are screwed. All right. So, as you journey through the land of Kilforth, you will encounter things. You will encounter strangers who, think about it thematically as people that you meet on the road along the way. They can either want to hear what you got to say and join your cause, hate you because you talk too much and want to fight you, or they do something else. You can run into places, locations that are at these wonderful places, locations that let you rest, locations that let you that protect you from weather. And yes, there's a weather aspect of this game. Rules equals suggested way to play. Fair enough. And so I'd probably say that's what that builds up, right? Let me move our bard over here so we can do this. Put you over here. I know I haven't selected rumors yet. Calm down, people. I know. I'm just trying to build people up so that they can be ready. I know I haven't selected my rumors yet. All right. So we're over here, and we have these different locations that you're going to play. Well, when you visit a forest location, you're going to draw a plains location, you're going to draw a plains card and see what you encounter at that location. That's why they're called encounters. When you're at a mountain location, you'll have mountain encounters. And like I said, I'm just doing setup. When you're at a forest location, you'll have forest encounters. And when you're at a Badlands location, time for me to work. Good luck, Steven. Sorry you couldn't stay for the full. You will have Badlands encounters. These are thick decks of encounters. There's a lot of them. There is a lot of them that you will run into. The rewards aspects of things that you can find are you can find allies. In these locations or just shopping, you can find items to strengthen yourself up. You can even get notoriety by gaining a title. Or you can try to become the most powerful caster and gain spells. This is the board set up. So like I said, I just stepped through it all. The box is completely empty of stuff. So this is all the cards that you have on the game. This is how it's going to be set up. This is how it's going to play. All right. So when you start the game, as we're sitting in the Sprawl City, we have our saga, and we have our sagas that we're going through, each one saying, okay, well, we're going to help each other out to take care of these ancients, but we need some form of rumor, something that we listen around at the bar, at the inn, at the pub to determine where we should start looking, or what item can we find or person that can lead us information on our saga to get things done. So we need to determine what rumor we're going to get. And what you do is, and this is my recommendation for people who are playing for the first time. If you're not playing for the first time and you just want to go buck wild, go buck wild. But I want you to look at your saga. And on your saga, especially on my Dark Elf, it says Badlands Quest and Title. This is where this comes into handy. Notice the colors. Purple, and then green. And I'm saying purple because it's a darker shade of something. And then green, because I'm colorblind to that color. Well, if you'll notice, skills have the color purple on them. Titles have the color green on them. So that to me means that, okay, well, I need a title. So let me see what rumors I find around titles as I listen in at the inn in Sprawl City. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw two title cards. You're going to take a look at both of them, and then you will shuffle one back in, and the other one is a rumor in your hand. So the two titles I find are Orc Friend and Royalty. Well, the Trapped Godhead, it could be either or. If I go to the Grand Plains, I could discover this rumor to make it an asset. Or if I go to the Dark Mire, I could discover this rumor to gain an asset. Well, the abilities I'll get is, as an Orc Friend, add +1 to your tested attribute value in each test against a humanoid. Or, Royalty, I just veil this and I get money. That sounds fun. So, I'm gonna take that one. And what happens is this goes into your hand as a rumor. All right. So people who've played Marvel Champions, people who've played Arkham Horror, people who've played any card game that is a deck builder, or know this part very well. That is your hand or in play. When it is in your hand, it is not in play. You do not have this ability. It's in your hand. And it's called a rumor. All right. So rumors, when we talk about rumors, those are cards that are in your hand that are not in play as assets. Okay. So this is in my hand as a rumor. Then we look at our bard. Well, we've got Plain Stranger and Item. So let's take a look at the bard. It says that maybe I've heard about a cool item that might be pretty stinking amazing. So you're going to grab 2 item cards. Take a look at them. Okay, well, there's the Thunder Hammer, which when battle starts, okay, here's another one for you. This is not even a veil action. This is just something. When a battle starts, your foe loses 1 HP. If the foe has no HP left, you kill it. Insta-kill. Or this armor that gives you a little bit more protection and health against taking damage. I'm going to take the Thunderhammer. So I heard that there's this really cool hammer called Mjolnir that if I can lift it, I can hurt people with it before I get into a fight. Alright, so these are your rumors. They're in your hand, and I'm going to slide them down here. I know there's a glare, I'm so sorry. But I'm going to slide them down here for each character. They're rumors. They're not in play, and your game is set up ready to play. So what you're going to do is you're going to start off by each person. Now we're going to go into the action phase. That is setup. Setup is done. We're in action phase. I want you to align your red hearts with your black hearts, because health and actions are tied together. How much health you have determines how much actions you have. You start off with 4 actions because you have 4 health. So if you take damage, you actually lose actions. So be careful on how you move. So we're starting off our adventure. We're ready to go. We've listened to the end. We've heard some rumors about some things that can help lead us on our saga, and we'll go through to see what's going on. So we start off with whoever determines that they're going to be the first player. The first player will always be the person who ended their actions first on the previous round. So for instance, if the Dark Elf has 3 actions, the Bard has 4. When the Dark Elf finishes her actions and the Bard has more actions left to go, the Dark Elf gains the first player token marker. If it's vice versa, the Bard is down to 2 health and only 2 actions, but the Dark Elf has 4, then when the Bard finishes first, whoever finishes first gains the first player marker. And you'll see that in action as I horribly roll this game. Alright, so we got everything set up. We got our loot bag all set to go. We've got all wonderful things. Let's run through a game round. So first thing you do is you say, okay, what am I going to do first? What do I decide to do? I can move to any location. This rumor says I need to go to the Dark Mire. Well, the Dark Mire is here. And this rumor says, well, I need to go to the Lava Canyon. Well, the Lava Canyon is here. So they're going to automatically diverge positions to do whatever they need to do to solve their problem. They need to leave the city. Here are your actions. You can move. You can veil. You can deed if you need to deed. You can use a loot token if you have one to use. You can hide. Now you can regale, but you don't have enough money. You can perform a market action if you want to, but you got 1 gold, so that's not really going to amount to much. So we're going to get into the different actions that you can do. So the game flow runs in fit. You are doing excellent so far, Canje. Everything is crystal clear and I understand. Awesome. That's great to hear. So your actions are: you can hide, move, search, confront, discover, clear, rest, market, and regale. And I ran through all those really quickly because in the first round of your game, you're only going to be able to do 2. The first one is either you can hide or you can move. All right, so let's run through. With our 2 characters, we're going to just move, and then the other character I'm going to hide. So the first thing I'm going to do with my Dark Elf, because I like her, is I'm going to spend 1 action. So you just take it, move it off to the side to denote that you're spending an action, one of my 4, to hide. When I decide to hide, I grab one of these broccoli symbol thingies, and I drop it on my card. What that means is when I hide and I move into a when I'm hidden and I move into a location, a monster can't surprise attack me and hack me in the face, right? I am not at the whim of the monster gaining surprise on me as I walk down the street feeling all good about myself. The Bard, however, is going to walk down the street and feel all good about himself. So, after I take 1 action, that ends my turn. It is the next player's turn. So everyone takes 1 turn at a time in a round. Until all turns are done, game done. So instead of you having to sit there and watch me take 4 actions, I only take 1. And then it's your turn. So the bard saying, I don't need to hide. Whatever. The bard is going to say, okay, I'm just going to walk. If I go to the mountain, I'm probably going to die. I'm just going to walk to the old woods. Boom. Because I'm safe. So the old woods is a forest location. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the encounter deck that has the forest symbol. For, people who determine that they want to pre-shuffle, but I like to shuffle one good time after the game's set up, so I'm not shuffling cards for 30 minutes, because there's a lot of cards with this game. So you're going to shuffle these up. Then you're just going to draw the top card off of there. Boom. And I found here the Lost Village. It's a place with the keywords abode and forest. Map trophy means that if I defeat this place, then I get to perform a free market action. I also can either we got to step through this. Let's go from top to bottom so this makes sense. So I found the Lost Village. All right, cool. Bounce back up to the top. If I want to defeat this place, I can either test study, where I have to have 4 successes, test sneak, where I have to have 3 successes, test influence, where I have to have 3 successes. If I defeat this place, if I defeat the Lost Village, or I overcome these, right? So I gain 4 successes on study. So this is not, hey Steve, greetings Canje, love the instructional playthrough. Thank you. So if I just have to do one of these, but I have to do, whenever I perform it, I have to do it for that one. So you can't sit here and say, I'm going to roll against study. I changed my mind. Okay, I rolled 1 success, so let me roll against influence. You can't do that. You have to pick one and stick with it. Okay? So don't try to play the game of, okay, well, I rolled 3, and don't even try to play this game. Well, I'm going to roll my dice first and then determine which one I'm going to pick. You have to say what you're going to pick first before you roll any dice. All right? So no cheating. So that means that you have to proclaim, I am going to test influence against the Lost Village, and then roll your dice. You can't roll first. If you roll first, you're cheating. Now, this is a place with the keywords abode and forest. If you defeat it, you get to perform a free market action, which we'll talk about later. So this is a forest location. Should you overcome this card, you can either take this card into your hand as a rumor, or discard this card and claim the top card of the title deck. That's the green. You can either also take 2 gold as your reward, or randomly grab from the loot bag. All right? So let's run through what this looks like. So his first action, he moved and he got to this Lost Village. That's the end of his action. So now it is back to our character here. Well, she's going to spend her second action to move now that she's hidden. And I think she's going to Darkbriar. So she's going to move down here to this Plains location. Well, or Badlands location. Sorry, Badlands. Then we're going to shuffle the Badlands deck, because like I said, I like to do this just once. You can pre-shuffle. Don't worry, you don't have to follow this part exactly. You can pre-shuffle and get all your decks ready so you don't have to shuffle when you start playing to break to break the theme that you're going for. Okay. I'm going to draw the top card of the Badlands deck and flip it over. And I found a quest. Slavers. So you get some flavor text. Slavers have been abducting city folk to take away on their ships. Stop them. So this is a quest that I'm going to do. To defeat this quest, I need to pass 3 study or 4 sneak. If I defeat this quest, I want you to notice colors again. So this is a Badlands card, which is purple. Oh, look. I can get a spell, which is purple. And I can get 3 gold or go to loot back, right? So one thing I want you to keep in mind is that Correlation. Badlands I seem to be finding a lot of spells in Badlands. That is not the only place spells are located. It's just that's where you'll find an abundance. So if I need titles, notice this is a title that's in a forest location. If I need titles, then if I go look in forest locations, I can find them a lot. You're making me want to play Gloom. Bring it out, Cynthia. Bring it out. Let's play it. If you need an item, you're more likely to find items in mountain locations. And if you need allies, you are more likely to find allies in plains locations. The colors all mean something. All right, so whenever you see colors, so for instance, quest is purple on my saga, right? So since quest is purple, I know that if I go to a Badlands location, I am more likely to find the quest there. Does that make sense? This is why colors matter. So for strangers, for the bard, the bard needs to find a stranger. Well, I am more likely to find a stranger in a plains location because it's blue. That doesn't mean that there aren't strangers in other locations. There aren't strangers in mountains, forests, or badlands. It's just I'm more likely to find strangers in plains locations. All right. So back to it. So I spent my second action to move here. It's a quest. That ends my action. Right? This character, Bard, feeling pretty good about himself. Let's get into now. We've got more actions, right? Remember, we did the hidden. We did the movement. So let's get into the next set of actions. This is called confronting. All right? So when you confront, you basically say, I'm going to take on this thing. Well, we know our Bard... See if it's over here. We know our Bard has... or our Elf Bard has 2 influence plus 1, so 3 influence, which means they'll roll 3 dice. We know that their sneak is 3, and we know that their study is 4. That seems to pretty much align up here with the success rates that we need to do. Well, I'm a Bard, right? And I have a cool ability. My cool ability says Bard, Veil, Musician. Add 1 success to an influence test at your location. Oh, how cool. So, I'm going to test influence, right? So I'm proclaiming that I'm going to try to defeat this influence score. So I need to spend an action to confront this to do that. And what you're going to do at this point, this is where you're going to see me start rolling terribly. So let's do this. I'm going to put this right here. And we're going to use the black dice because they're easy to see. So if I look at my Bard, remember, my Elf has 2 influence, and my Bard adds +1, so I roll 3 dice. I've proclaimed that I'm going to try to defeat this via influence, and I've spent that action to do so. So you're going to grab these dice, and you're going to roll them. Dice rolls, pretty simple. 5s and 6s are successes. Everything else is a fail. All right? So that's it. You don't need to know anything else special about it. 5s and 6s are successes, and everything else is a fail. I've created my own Canje variant that says 4s are partial successes, but we're not going to use this in that tutorial. That is not in the books. That's one that I made up, right? I begged Tristan to put it in the book, but he said I think he's going to say no. So, but if this is your first time playing, and I'm going to add this in there, in the book it does say, if you do find the game being very difficult on your dice rolls, you can make 4s successes. So if you want to play on easy mode and you're saying you're having trouble with dice rolls, you can make it 4, 5s, and 6s successes. But if you want to play on normal mode, only 5s and 6s are successes. So you grab your dice and you give them a roll. Oh, look at that! I got nothing. So I got 2 4s and a 3, which is no success whatsoever. So I got no successes against this, which means my turn is over. All right? Then, and this is where people who record videos do a bunch of zooming, right? Then we come down to our War Mage. Well, we found the quest here. We do need a quest for our saga. That is something that we need. Badlands, quest, and title. We do need those to complete our saga. However, we're curious about getting this rumor as well into our hand, which is located at the, oh my gosh, that is just a mess, at the Dark Mire down here. So instead of starting on this quest, and the quests don't go away yet, but instead of starting on a quest, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend my third action, and I'm going to move instead from that location to this location. I can freely move. The only time that you can't freely move is if you find an enemy or a stranger becomes an enemy. Then you got a different set of problems, and we'll deal with it when we find it. All right. I had to look at this to be like, is this what I want to do right now? Yes, it is. It's perfectly fine. Ooh, no, it's not. We're going to skip that one. Because that one will probably kill me, and I'll put it at the bottom because I do want it to be a thing that I explain to you. Don't skip your stuff. I'm just skipping it for the sake of this tutorial right now. Where did I put it? Ah, there it is. I'm going to put this at the bottom of the deck because I'm going to come back to it because that's a special thing I want y'all to see. Good lord. I don't want to fight him. I want to find an enemy, but not that garbage. Okay, let's do this. Alright, so another thing that we could find is called an event. When you find an event, they immediately happen. This is something that you can't stop. You can't stop it. It's happening. So, Masklaw, that is the name of the big bad, Masklaw. So, Cult of Masklaw. So, once this event is revealed, the first hero performs an influence test. 3. That means that I need to perform an influence test and get 3 successes to pass it. If I pass it, I gain 1 spell. If I fail it, I sacrifice an ally asset. So this is not an ally that is a rumor, an ally asset. All right? So that event comes out and it lands here and it immediately triggers. So I need to test influence. Well, my influence is 1. My influence is 1, so I'm only rolling 1 die. Well, you know I failed, right? Sure, it'll give me a success. Why not? The game is cruel. So, but I failed it, so I have to sacrifice an ally asset. Well, look, I don't have ally assets, so, oh well, that card goes away. And that ends my action. Well, now we come back to Mr. Bard. And Mr. Bard says, nah, ain't no stupid village gonna beat me. So I'm going to spend another action to roll my 3 dice again to try to test influence again. And I got 1 success. So when you have a success, basically what the game tells you to do is to put, just to keep a tally of how that's going, and you can do that any way you want. What I like to do is I like to grab a die and put a 1 and put it there saying that I got that success. Okay? Now, that ends his turn. He did a test against it, that ends his turn. If I can actually, so here is where it gets, does that mean that skipping for the sake of tutorial, does that make you a big cheaterson? No, that makes me a good teacher. So, what I can do, I can solve this right now before my turn ends. Right? And let's talk about how. I got 1 success, right? Which means I got 1 success on that 3 influence. Well, I also got fate. So I could spend 1 fate to make one of those dice a success. So I've got 2 successes. Well, also, I'm a cool bard. So my bard ability also says that I can free action, Deed Veil, add 1 success to an influence test at your location. So I'm going to Deed Veil this to add a 3rd success. And ta-da, I win. So you have to pay attention to your cards and your abilities to look for that combination that can occur between. Truly, all I needed was 1 success. Then I just did that, and I won. I did it. I've spent 1 of my fates, and I veiled my ability, but I have 3 successes, which means I have overcome this location. And now, This location has some interesting bits on it. Now let's get into, so now that I've done this, I've won. You always run, does success carry over to the next action if you do not reach the goal in your one action? Great question, Frederick. I'm going to answer that in 1 second. So, Lost Village. So basically, now it is a, now you read from top down on victory. So that means the map trophy triggers. I can perform a free market action if I want to. The market actions I can perform are, and you can only do one of these, each one of these things once. All right, if that makes sense. So here are the things that you could do. You can spend 1 gold to heal 1 HP, and you can that can be incremented. So for instance, if you spend 2 gold, you heal 2 HP. If you spend 3 gold, you heal 3 HP. But 1 gold per HP. You can purchase 1 reward, which means you're going to draw 3 cards from any one of these decks, not 1, 1, 1. But if I could draw 3 cards from the ally deck, 3 cards from the item deck, 3 cards from the tile deck, or 3 cards from the spell deck, and purchase 1. You can sell any rumors that are in your hand for their below cost, so the halved, so half rounded down, I believe. Yes, rounded down. So for instance, this one's a 2. So if I sold this card, I would only get 1 gold for it. This rumor I have in my hand is a 6. So if I sold it, I'd get 3 gold for it. Now what you can do is you can perform them in any order you want. It's not top down, but you can only perform that specific market action once. I can heal spending, I can't say I'm going to spend 1 gold to heal once, then I'm going to buy some stuff, and then I'm going to heal again. You can't do that. You have to spend all the gold you're going to spend to heal at one time. You can only buy something from the market once, and you can only sell as many cards as you want once. So you can't say, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to sell 2 cards, buy a card, and then sell another card. You have to sell all your cards at once. You have to buy from one thing once. So you can't say, I'm going to buy 3 spells, I'm going to look at 3 spells, buy a spell. I'm going to then look at 3 allies and buy an ally. You can only do it 1 time. All right? And that's only once per action. Okay. I was going to get into this one on the next one, but we could talk about it now. So Frederick asks, do successes carry over to the next action if you do not reach the goal in 1 action? Yes, but. Yes. As he was testing, if I would have had 1 success on that first turn, what I could have done is I could have said, okay, well, I'm going to, I would place 1 success on there, and then until the end of the day, that success remains. So let me try and explain that again. Let's run through the scenario one more time. So let's just say I didn't have the genius pattern of factory that I just did, and I had 1 success. That 1 success would stay there. So then I would spend another action to roll dice again, and then if I get another success, it would be 2 successes. That makes sense? When the day ends, all successes clear off. So if I had 2 successes on here and I was out of actions, as soon as the night phase ends, all successes clear. So you lose them all, you got to start all over. So if you cannot complete your confrontation within 1 round, all of it clears. All right, hopefully that answers that question. 1 round, not 1 turn, 1 round. So I've defeated this, and I get to perform a market action, but I don't have enough money. I'm not hurting in health. I'm not going to sell anything. So instead, I'm going to choose to skip this action, and then we come down here to say, okay, well, I can keep this card as a rumor in my hand, or I could get rid of this card to gain that symbol, which is a title from the top of the deck. I'm going to keep this card as a rumor in my hand. Then I can either get 2 gold or go to the loot bag. We're going to get the 2 gold, so this will go in my hand as a rumor, and I will get 2 gold. So boom, boom. So that ends my action. I'm done. Now, on her turn, remember she did the event, and once events are completed, they're discarded. They don't stick around. Everything else does, not events. So I'm at the Dark Mire, and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I got this lovely, lovely little rumor in my hand that I want to become an asset, that I want to play and make it active. Well, I'm going to spend my last action to do a discover action. And that discover says, if you are at the location where your rumor is in hand, you get to play it as an asset. That's a discover action. So now it is in play and part of my system. It also has a lovely ability that says Deed Veil to gain 2 gold. So I'll exhaust it, and you can immediately. It doesn't come in dazed. It comes in active. So I play it, and I gain 2 gold. I'm out of actions on her side, so her turn is over first, which means she keeps the first player token, and the Bard's turn is still left to go. Well, he's got to get up to that lava canyon to see what's going on. So he's going to spend. Remember, I'm showing how you can try to be bold and see what happens. So he's going to spend his last action to move up to the lava canyon, which means he's going to draw a mountain card because the lava canyon is a mountain. Is this kind of making sense with everybody? Is this flow working for y'all? Ask questions. I see that. Does that mean that's skipping? If you have any questions, ask away. If you're curious, ask away. We're going to be going through. When we get into combat, there's going to be a lot to go through. So, all right. So we're going to draw a mountain card. Please don't be something else. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yes. So, mountain card. There's a lot of enemies in the mountains because that's where they hide out. So I drew a brigand. This brigand is an enemy. It is a humanoid, and it's a mountain. So, Matt, when an engagement starts, you may pay 1 gold to evade the brigand and skip the engagement. Or, this brigand's going to punch you in the face. He has 2 health. He's going to roll. You see this symbol up here? This is how much dice he's rolling against you. If you were hidden, and that's what this symbol's for, if you were hidden when you happened upon this brigand, you can try to evade this brigand by trying to get 3 successes on an evade check. That's the reason why you hide. Also, there's another reason why you hide, and the Bard's going to soon learn why you hide before you go into any location, and you will all learn why your first action of every day should be to hide. Okay? It should all just default hide every day. There are cards that let you not waste action to do it, but default hide every day. So, this brigand says, give me 1 gold or I'm going to punch you in the face. The Bard says, I'm a Bard. You're not going to punch anybody in the face. I'm a Bard. The brigand says, okay. And then he swings his club. So let's get into combat. So combat. So the brigand is coming in, and he's going to roll 3 dice against you. Well, because you were caught unaware on the road because you weren't hidden, he gains surprise for the first round, and he gets to roll an extra dice against you. So if you are set upon by an enemy and you are not hidden, the enemy gains surprise against you. If you are hidden, you gain surprise against the enemy. So where the Bard is only going to roll 2 dice, if the Bard was hidden and encountered an enemy, then the Bard would roll 3 dice for the first round only. So for the first round only, the Brigand's going to roll 4 dice, and the Bard is going to be an idiot and roll 2. I could have paid that 1 gold, but I don't want to. I want y'all to see combat. Combat happens all at the same time. All at the same time. So the Bard could die. I'll default hide at the start of every day. Just hide. So the Brigand will be the white dice, and the Bard will be the black dice. I guarantee that the Brigand's going to kill me. Hey, he didn't kill me. Okay. So let's count up successes. Successes work both ways. 5s and 6s are successes. So the brigand rolled a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. Uncanny. That's uncanny. The bard rolled a 6 and a 3. So that means that the bard got 1 success against the brigand, dealing him 1 damage. The brigand only has 2 health. Now, we go into the next round of combat, and that surprise only happens on the first round. Don't roll 4 dice again. You're playing hard mode. So the brigand's taken 1 damage, the bard hasn't taken any, and then we go to round 2. So the brigand's going to roll his normal 3 dice, and the bard's still going to roll his 2. Now, what you can do, hey ID Jester, what you can do as the bard, because I'm not going to prolong this fight to round 2. Oh no, I already spent fate this day. I already spent the fate this day. I can't spend another one. If I wanted to spend the fate to win this fight, I can't, because you can only spend 1 fate per day. And I've already spent the fate to defeat this location. So I gotta fight. Round 2. Fight. Something with the loot. Alright. So, the brigand rolled a 2, and a 6. The bard rolled a 6 and a 3. The bard has hit the brigand for his health total, so he has defeated the brigand. But the brigand got a final slashing blow on him. So the bard loses 1 health. So he's down to 3. So we have defeated the brigand. He has been beaten. Now, remember, we start collecting... Oops, sorry. We start collecting rewards top down. So the map doesn't work because we didn't do that, so we immediately go down here to the bottom. And it is, we're going to get an item or keep this card as an enemy humanoid. Well, we want an item because that sounds fun, but this is going to go in our hand as a rumor. So we'll go to the item deck. Give him a shuffle. Nope, I don't know what that card is, but I probably don't want it. Give it a nice little shuffle. And draw the top card of the item deck, which is a repeat crossbow. It has the keyword item and weapon. Alright, pause. You see this little asterisk right here? Asterisk, however you say it. Brought him to a loot fight. When you see that, that means that you can only have one of these keywords that it's next to as an asset. So that means that if I have a repeat... perfect example. Already in my hand, I have the Thunderhammer. So that you see the two, you see them both say weapon with an asterisk at the side? That means that I can't play both of these as assets. I can only play one. The other one, I just need to sell it. It's not going to do me any good. So then I look at this. When a battle starts, your foe will perform its skirmish stuff after the foe defeated check, or it loses a health. Well, I'm still going to stick with the Thunderhammer, but you can have this card as a rumor in your hand. So it can be a rumor in your hand that you can sell later, but you can't. But you cannot put both of them down as assets because of the star. All right, very important. Very important. Pay attention to that because you will basically cheat the game if you do that. If you see an asterisk next to, because they are two-handed weapons, that's fair. But if you see it as if you see that asterisk or that star next to a keyword, you can only have one of those as assets down. You cannot have more than one. All right. Then I can either gain 1 gold or go to loot bag. Well, we're going to loot bag because 1 gold's stupid. So we're going to go into the loot bag. Is there a hand limit? Yes, 6. The rules of 6s. You can only have 6 loot. You can only have 6 assets, and you can only have six rumors in your hand. So it's the rule of 6s, Frederick, for that one. So great question. Is there a limit to hand size? The rules of 6s apply. You can only have 6 rumors, 6 assets, and six loot tokens that you hang on to. Alright, so you reach in here, shuffle this up, and you grab 1, and then you reveal what this bad boy is. Well, it is I got a cloak. And this cloak says I gain 1 hide AP. Alright, and this is a deed. And this is a deed. Think of these tokens as deed sacrifices. So he has a deed sacrifice that he can gain a hide AP anytime he wants. So therefore, he doesn't have to spend an action to hide now. He could just deed sacrifice this and hide. Actually, no, it's an AP, sorry. Nope, he would gain a hide AP. So he would have to spend the hide AP to hide. Sorry, I misspoke. Sorry, Steven. I misspoke. It's giving me 1 AP, and all I can use it for is to hide. You'll see me do that next round anyway. I'm going to do it next round anyway. After that, this card's discarded, and combat is over. He is out of actions. Popping in to say hello. Great game, great instructor. Hey, Dan, what's going on? So that ends that. So now we have used all of our actions. Now we must make camp. Okay? So we're going to make camp. All right? Wherever our locations are, that all make camp means is it's the end of our day. You do not unveil. Everything stays the way it is. And then immediately you draw the first, then you go to the night phase, where you draw the first night card. The night card says, it's a weather card. Eerie stillness, all is clear. This is a good card. If you find this card, dance. But the Barrowmoor Plains location falls in the gloom. So you find Barrowmoor, which is the Plains location, so find Plains. And then you find Barrowmoor right here. And then all you do is you take this card and you flip it over. When you flip it over, it's on its gloom side. So you see it says it's in gloom, so it's a little bit more dreary. And you get -1. So if you camp here, you lose 1 health. So that falls into gloom. Also, this is an ongoing weather effect. When it says weather, so that stays in effect. But oh, cool. We don't have a Plains location. All right. So then we do our check. Do either of the ancients control a Plains location? Well, the Marquis of Pain is mountain, and the Abyss of Penance is Badlands. So no. So that's all that happens is it falls in the gloom. At the end of that is the night phase. Then we have the dawn phase, where you do this, and you undo that. Can you play this solo with 1 character, or do you need to have 2? 1 character, ID Jester. I'm just showing 2 because, unlike Rodney, who tells us to discover it on our own, I'm gonna teach y'all how to do it all. You can play with 1 character, and it works perfectly. I've played with 3, 2, and 1, and solo character, and it scales just as well. So yes, you can play true solo on this game. I'm just showing y'all how to play multiplayer for people who are playing with friends or not. All right, so I did that. I unveiled. As soon as you unveil, you lose hidden status. Hidden status is gone. You lose it. Then you break camp, which means you're going to gain back the actions for how much health you have. Well, our dark elf had 4 health, so she gets 4 actions. Our bard, however, only has 3 health, so he gains 3 actions. How it shakes out. The dark elf, then we start our round over again. The dark elf has I don't need to hide for this one. This will work out fine. The dark elf then will say, okay, well, my first action is I'm going to spend my first action to move here without hiding. How do you heal that wound on the bard? It's coming. Hold on. Come on, don't spoil the date. We'll get there. I don't want to tangent too much, or else I'm gonna fly off the rails and just start explaining rules at random. So I am moving without hiding into this Badlands location. But here's the reason why I didn't hide. If your location already has an encounter on it, you don't have to draw another, right? So this quest is already here, which means I can move from here to here without drawing another card. If I was to move to the left or to the right, those don't have encounters, so that means I would have to draw an encounter. But if a location already has an encounter, I don't have to draw a new encounter. I know what's there, so I just move there freely and not have to waste an action. So it's the Bard's turn. So let's talk about this tokens, rumors, health, all the stuff that ID Gesture is asking about. If you want to heal, what you can do is you can spend an action to rest, and you'll gain back 1 AP. Not all AP, 1. So that means that if the Bard was down to 1 health, and he only had 1 action, he can move. He can go wherever he wants to go. Or he could spend that entire day just resting, but that would just get him back 1 health. And then the next day, he'll have 2 actions. And then he can rest again to get back another health. And then the next day, he'll have 3 actions. Or he could go to Sprawl City and spend 3 gold to heal, and spend the gold to heal 1 action per. So you have to be very strategic in how you spend your actions and what best works out for you if you want to heal. Also, he has this lovely little loot token that is a deed sacrifice that says he will gain 1 hide AP. So that means he can say, I'm going to deed this and spend it. I will get a free hide action. So just use like one of the little broccoli things to say that you're going to hide, right? Then you still have your action because that was a deed sacrifice. That was a free action sacrifice. So you still have your action. So you can use your action to hide, or you can use your action to do something else. For him, I'm going to use his action, because he's at the Lava Canyon, to discover the lovely Thunderhammer. And that's going to come down into his play area as an asset. And that ends his turn. Now it is the Dark Elf's turn. Well, she needs a quest. She has a title because she discovered this, right? And we'll talk about what all that means when I regale. But she needs a quest, which means she needs to defeat this thing. So she's going to spend an action to do a study confront, which she rolls 4 dice, and she needs 3 successes. So she needs a study confront. So she's going to roll 4 dice, and she needs 3 successes to confront this quest. Let's see how we do. It's a forest location. It's not a 4-leaf clover. It's a forest location. I just call it broccoli because it looks like broccoli. It's a forest location, like you're hiding in the forest. But I'm gonna pick on Tristan a little. So I've got 1, 2. Nope. So I have 2 successes. And I'm going to spend a fate to make it 3. Because this is a new day. I haven't spent any of my fate. And I just spent, sorry. I haven't spent any of my fate. So I'm going to use 1 now to get 3 successes. And I defeat this location. Or this quest. This quest has been defeated. So we take a look at it. Top down. And I keep saying top down because don't try to game this as saying, okay, it says I can do a market action. Well, let me get 3 gold and go to the market. No. You do top down. I like it. Alright, so top down, there's no special gain for it, but I can either keep this card or gain a spell and get 3 gold or go to loot back. I am going to keep this card because it has a quest and a Badland keyword. And we're gonna pause right here to talk about this. This is gonna come into my hand as a rumor, and then I'm gonna gain 3 gold as well, instead of going to the loot bag. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that's my gold for her, and this comes in as a quest, destroy, and Badlands. Now, if you look on my card, and this is where I'm going to pause, because this is another thing that a lot of people miss. If you look on my Saga card, it says I need Badlands, quest, and title. And so you say, well, Canje, you have title already as an asset. This one has quest and Badlands on it. Man, you are styling. You're good to go. No, I am not. Per card, or per rumor, or asset that you have, you can only use 1 keyword. So, for instance, on this, I can either use quest, or I can use Badlands. I cannot use both. So I need to find another card that is either Badlands or quest, and then I can regale. Alright? So don't try to regale with 2 cards You need 3. All right. If you're playing 3 to 4 player, you need 2. If you're playing true solo or 2 player, you need 3 to regale. So I'm going to keep that in my hand, and that is going to be. So that's my action. Great confront. It is the bard's turn. What the heck does he need? Plains? Where's the closest plains? Green Meadow. So he's going to then spend his hide AP because he remembers getting punched in the face and he didn't like it. So he's going to use his hide AP to hide, and that ends his turn. The lovely lady here is going to deed Veil to gain 2 more gold. I love that title so much. It's just free money. Free money. And then she is going to... Okay, let's do the next action that she can do. So, the way that you find encounters is 2 ways. 1, you can move to a new location that doesn't have an encounter on it. Or 2, you could perform a search action. If there are no obstacles, which we haven't gotten to yet, but you'll see coming up, if there's no encounters, and if you are not in Sprawl City, you can do a search action. Do the cloaks stay on? Or is it used up? The cloak is used up once you deed sacrifice. So that's the keyword sacrifice. Tokens, loot is deed sacrifice. So sacrifice means it's discarded. This stays on him until the end of the day. Or something happens which you're about to see. So I'm going to do a search action. So I'm going to spend an action to do a search action in the location that I currently am in to draw an encounter at that location. So I'm digging through the swamps trying to find somebody. And I found, lucky, I did not rig this. I found a detained prisoner in the Badlands that is a quest, assist, and Badlands. 3 study to defeat it, and if I defeat it, those are the options that I have. So this is a new encounter that is here. And that ends my turn. So it is his turn. He is going to... He's going to spend an action to move to the Green Meadows Plains location. So now you grab the Plains deck and you shuffle it. All right, you're getting a sense of... I'm not going to play through this full game for you. I know you want me to do it, but you're getting a sense of going on. Now I'm going to start doing scenarios after this play, because I just wanted to run through 1 round of combat, and then I'm going to start running through scenarios. I know y'all are like, oh, I'll keep playing. No. This is an instructional video. Although I really do want to keep playing because you can't see everything happen as I play. But nope, we're doing instructional today. Alright, so I'm going to draw a Plains location. Ooh, perfect. And I found a stranger. The stranger has 1 health. The stranger rolls 1 die against you. There is an evade symbol, and there's an influence symbol, and it says map. When you start an influence test, you must pay 1 gold to defeat the beggar. That means that if you're going to fight this beggar, if you're going to pick on a poor man, on a poor broke soul, then you need to spend 1 gold to fight him. What's with the rules? If it's fun, keep playing. Stop it, Mike. So basically, he will give you no gold. It could be an asset if you want. Well, I do need a stranger in a Plains, right? But he is in this location. Now, let's talk about strangers for a second. There are rules that applies to strangers. 1, don't talk to him. No. There's rules to apply to strangers. Now, notice that he has a fight, he has health, and he has an evade symbol. And you're like, well, he's a stranger, so does he attack me? No, he's not an enemy. Yet. So, here's how strangers work. Get your pencils out, because this one is going to throw a lot of people for a loop. I'm going to break down the entire stranger card so you know exactly what to do when you deal with a stranger. Call for help. Call an adult. That's it. No. What you do is you have a choice. If the stranger offers you candy, run. Well, if it's next to like a white van with a mattress in the back, you need to run away. All right, so strangers operate differently than enemies, than places, than events. They are the most unique and diverse character in this game, and I cannot tell you how many times people get this wrong. I got this wrong. Steven had to school me on it the first time I played, and he was like, here's the deal with strangers. They are the most complex, and you need to be ready for them. So let me get you ready. When a stranger's in play, and it's discovered as an encounter, nothing happens. It goes down on your location like it's nothing, right? Like, you can walk away from them. You don't have to talk to them. You can keep moving. And if you move back into their space, you don't have to draw an encounter card because they're considered an encounter card. So you treat them just like that. However, if you want to ally with a stranger, you have to pass an influence test. Okay? So you have to pass an influence test. And the success rate is right here. On your very first influence test, and this is so important. I'm going to just take a bunch of time to show y'all scenarios on this. So on this, I have to roll, my Bard's influence is 3, right? So I'm going to try to let's just say I spend an action. I spend an action to try to influence this guy, because it costs an action. I'm going to roll these dice, and let's see what comes up, and I'm going to show you the different scenarios that outcome from this. Alright, so I got a 5, a 4, and a 2, which means I got 1 success on that influence roll. Cool, so that means that I would put 1 success on this guy. 1 of 3, right? And then my next turn, if I have any actions left, I could spend an action to perform another influence check and continue on and so forth without any problem. Here's the kicker. Let's say I didn't roll any successes and I rolled a 4, a 4, and a 2. As on my very first roll, and only your very first roll, if you fail an influence check and get no successes, the stranger becomes an enemy to you, and it attacks you. He attacks you right away. Because he doesn't like what you're saying, you're just a jerk. And then what you're going to do is you're going to grab one of your target tokens, and you're going to put that target token on that stranger, and he is an enemy to you. So you can run away, because in a fight you can run away. You can run away, or you can fight him right then, but he becomes your enemy, which means he's going to roll 1 die against you, and he has 1 health, and he turns into an enemy character that you fight. Now, I'm not done. I'm so not done with this stranger, so you can understand how this works. This only applies on your very first influence test. So, thematically, you ran into a stranger walking along the road, and the stranger doesn't know you. You don't know them. So you say, hey, help me. And they're like, give you the middle finger, and then you get in a fight, right? Or you say, hey, you're coming with me. And they say no, and then you get into a fight. So you failed to influence them on your very first try. They turn into an enemy. After, let's go back to our other case. So I got 1 success. So my second attempt, I roll, and I fail. Nothing happens. So only on your first attempt at an influence test, if you fail, they become an enemy. All right. So let's say let's go this avenue of I said the wrong thing and this beggar wants to fight me now. Basically, Frederick, first impressions. It's all about first impressions. Now let's say I did get into a fight with this. I didn't get the successes. I did get into a fight with a stranger, and I fought him. And I fought him. He rolled 1 dice against me. I rolled 2 dice against him as the bard, and I defeat him. When you defeat the stranger, guess what you get to do? You remember how before I said, like, when you win, you go top down and you say, okay, you can keep the stranger or get an ally? When a stranger becomes an enemy, you have to take this card. You cannot get an ally card. There is no or. And you have to take the reward at the bottom too. So I can't say, oh, it's either 0 gold or the loot bag. Nope, it's 0 gold. So when you get into a fight with a stranger as an enemy, you have to take this card into your hand. You cannot choose. Very important rule that a lot of people miss. Make sure you understand that. So, let's say let's go the other route. Let's say I did for this beggar roll success the first time and success the second time, and then I'm out of actions. The day ends because I'm out of actions. I can't do anything else. At the end of the night phase, all successes clear off, and you gotta start all over again. And if you fail that first roll, he becomes an enemy all over again. So it's always on the first roll of an influence test. So the next day starts, and you're like, oh, okay, well, let me influence him. All right, cool. All right, I rolled a 1, 2, 3. There's no successes on him, sorry. There's no successes on the new day. I rolled a 1, 2, 3. He becomes an enemy. Automatically. So every day, it's always a first impression. Think of it that way, thematically. All right? Very important about strangers. And should you defeat the stranger, you have to take this card as a rumor. You cannot get anything else. You do not get to pick up whatever's here, and you do get the money cost. You don't go to loot bag. This comes in your hand. All right? Okay, so that's the deal with strangers. All right, so let's skip around a little bit. I know y'all want to see me play, but let's skip around a little bit, and let's say that our Dark Elf was able to gain this card. So now, in my hand as rumors, I got a Quest Destroy Badlands card that I defeated, and I got a Quest Assist Badlands card that I had. And on top of that, I have this title card that I have as an asset. So for an action, you perform what's called a regale action. And what that regale action is that you look on this card, all that it is that you look on this card and it says to complete, spend 5 gold and 1 regale action. So you have to have 5 gold. Don't try to do it without 5 gold. You spend 5 gold, and then you have to spend these symbols. So, very important. If these symbols, so Badlands, Quest, and Title, well, I got one that I'm going to use for Quest, and one that I'm going to use for Badlands. That's here. Right? One for Quest, one for Badlands. If they are rumors in your hand, if these cards are rumors in your hand when you regale, you lose them. They are discarded back to their respective decks. They're gone. The money is gone. Just let it go. The money's gone. However, if you have an asset in play that matches this, you get to keep your asset. Can you go over getting the rewards on the bottom of the card? Why is there 2 rewards? What do they mean? Yeah, ID Gesture, I'll go through those as well. Let me circle back to that in a second. So, when you have an asset in play that matches the keyword of your saga, you don't lose it. You only have to discard rumors out of your hand. So you don't lose it, okay? You can keep it, or you can regale and lose the card and gain half of the gold cost for it. All right? Okay. So, now that I've spent that, I've completed this saga. Once this saga is completed, I take these steps. First thing I do, I raise my health by 1, which means I gain an action, but that action is exhausted. So that means I have to wait until the next day to get my new set of actions. So my health goes up by 1, so now I have 5 health, and I will have 5 actions on the next day unless something causes a problem, which it probably will from the night deck. Then, since I'm level 1, I grab these 2 ability cards. Remember I told you to put these off to the side? And I will take a look at the 2 level 1 ones and pick one. Either I will gain +1 to my fight, or I gain this ability at a Badlands location, heal 1 HP. So I could choose one of these. It doesn't matter which one, but I'm going to choose one. So for her, she's going to take the fight one. And she's going to put that right there in play, automatically, immediately takes effect. The other card is put off to the side, and remember I was talking about the Bard, if you're playing 2-player with him having the arcane symbol. When he completes his saga, he has to take that other card. Okay? So that's where you can work together and talk about how to help each other, or if you're competitive, you can screw over your opponent. So she takes this, it immediately gives her a +1 fight, so now she's 2, 3, and 4, and she's good. So then, you turn your saga over to chapter 2, read the flavor text out loud so you further your story, and then move on to the next set of keywords you need, which is forest, place, and spell. I don't have spell, I don't have forest, I don't have place, so I need to go about the land to find those keywords to continue on with my next saga. You were asking, ID Jester, let's backtrack here. And you were saying, can you go over getting the rewards on the bottom of a card? Why is there 2 rewards? What do they mean? So let's go back to our lovely brigand. And our brigand here, when you defeat an enemy, when you overcome an obstacle or a place or a quest or whatever is on there, when you defeat it by rolling the successes, for an enemy defeating its health, and for a place overcoming either a study or a sneak test, you get a choice. Either 1, you can take this card in your hand as a rumor, or you can gain the symbol at the bottom from the rewards side as a rumor. So in this case, I can either take this card as a rumor or gain a spell. Okay? Also, you can either gain the gold cost at the bottom or go to the loot bag. So in this case, I would gain 3 gold, or I would go to the loot bag. Hopefully that helps you with that question, but let me know if you have any other questions around that. That's what they mean. Let's see, what else we got here? Okay. So, let's say she completed that, she ended her day, she's good, she's solid. So like I said, I'm going to start throwing scenarios now, because, no, we're not going to play through this. I would love to. Alright. Now, let's run through the scenario of... perfect. So you either take 1 card for the keyword, or you get the reward on the bottom left, but you always get the gold at the bottom. No. Remember, I just said, if you can choose either to get the gold or go to the loot bag. Go to loot bag, where there's random loot in here that you can get. So no, you don't always get the gold. You either choose the gold or the loot bag, not both. Some cards in this, hopefully that answers that question. Some cards in this game will be weather cards that are terrible. And this is a great example of what I wanted to show y'all next up. So let's say both of their days ended. They're done. So strangers can become assets, but the other location cards only become rumors or rewards. Strangers cannot become assets. Allies can become assets. Strangers are rumors. So let's run through that. Let's run through that one. Where did that guy go? I put him somewhere. Here he is. He's here. So this is a stranger. This is an ally. Notice the difference. Allies can become assets. Strangers stay as rumors. You usually keep strangers for regale actions, so things that you need for your saga, but allies become assets. Not strangers, allies. So is it gold? So it's gold or draw reward out of bag. Thanks. I think I got it now. Cool, cool, cool. Yes, that is correct. So nope, strangers do not become assets. Allies become assets. I'm supposed to put this guy here. Okay, so sometimes you will hit pelting hail, which is a weather condition. Weather conditions are ongoing conditions that are night cards that suck and they hurt you all the time. So this is a weather card. This is pelting hail. When night begins, each hero who is not hidden or at a location with a place keyword loses 1 health. Just like that, and the Misty Fens falls into Gloom. You'll always see at the bottom what location falls into Gloom. The reason why I'm glad this card came out is it does two things that are horrible to you. One, it immediately gets rid of the previous weather card, immediately gets rid of it, and it becomes the new ongoing weather card that you can't do anything about until another weather card gets rid of it. No way to get rid of that card until another weather card comes out to get rid of it. So that means that at the end of every round, if I am not hidden or at a location with a place keyword, I will take 1 damage. And the Misty Fens falls into Gloom. The Misty Fens is a Badlands location. Nothing. We'll get there. So, the Misty Fens is a Badlands location, so you flip it over to Badlands. Oh, look, the Abyss is a Badlands Ancient. So what you do is you take her plot cards, and it says plot at the bottom, you give them a shuffle. Like I said, I just shuffle as I need. And then you're going to reveal one of the plot cards with its flavor text on that location. So her machinations are coming to fruition, and there's a plot that has appeared in the Misty Fens. Now, these plot cards you're like, oh, that's not too bad. No, these plot cards suck, okay? So what happens is, these plot cards have keywords. They have quest and assist. There is flavor text. There is what you need to do to defeat this plot. And this specific plot is, to defeat this plot, you need to lose 2 health. So you need to go to this location, lose 2 health, which means 2 actions, and I'll get to that in a second, and then you get to resolve this plot. If this plot is still in effect when you fight your ancient, she gets this ability. I bet she'll gain 2 maximum health. When you defeat this plot, you immediately draw loot from the loot bag. And this card can go into your hand as a rumor. Or you could just discard it and throw it away and say you don't want to deal with it. But remember, it has keywords on there, and there might be a keyword that you need. So, question was asked is what happens when a place falls into Gloom? So let's say the Barren Waste fell into Gloom, and our Dark Elf is there. When it falls into Gloom, nothing, you're good. But if you end your turn here in a place that falls into Gloom, you will lose health equal to the number that is on the gloomed location. So here is it all pretty and nice, and here is it in Gloom. And you will lose, so that means that if she is on the Barren Waste and she ends her turn on the Barren Waste, she will lose 1 health. Now let's talk about the correlation between health and actions. So let's say we started a new day. We started a new day with our Dark Elf, and she's got, she leveled up. She got to Chapter 2. She can gain 2 more gold if she wants because she's got this awesome title. But she can, so she has 5 actions that she can do because she has 5 health. Let's say she's just been walking around happy. She spends 2 actions to just kind of boop, boop. And then she runs into an enemy or something, and she gets into a fight. The enemy hits her for 2 damage, right? Immediately your brain goes to, okay, well, she'll just lose 2 health and we'll keep going. No good. No. What happens is, every time you lose health, you lose an action. So, for instance, this is the reason why I set up this scenario. So whenever she loses health and an action. If she loses another health, she loses health and an action. If she loses another health, she loses health and an action. And if she defeats the enemy, her day is over. She's only got 2 health and no actions left. If she lost all her health, which we'll get to a defeat of what happens when you're defeated in 1 second, but that would end her day. So every time they hit you, you lose an action. Every time. So this is why getting into fights is something you need to think about how you want to do it, because if you know that you're not a good fighter, you can end up losing all your actions. Alright? So, what happens if you are defeated? Boom. You have been punched. She got punched, walloped 5 times, and she was defeated. First things first. Were you defeated by fighting an ancient? If you were, game's over, you lost. Otherwise, if you were defeated fighting some enemy on the board, what you do is you take your character, you put them back in Sprawl City because somebody dragged your salt-soaked corpse, thanks Kate and Cynthia, to Sprawl City. You will gain back 2 health, and you must discard an asset that you have gone, and you lose all your gold. Alright? And your day is over. Your day ends. So, let's run through that one more time. Let's run through that one more time. My character, my dark elf, was killed in a fight. She died. Right? All her health was depleted. You take your character, and let's say she was over here. You take your character and you put them in Sprawl City. You gain 2 health, no actions. You discard an asset or a rumor, and you lose all of your gold. And your day is over. Alright? You understand what happens when you lose? So, the next day... Oh, God. So, here's a lovely scenario where this is just horrible. So, let's run back through that one more time on our defeated condition with the board set up in its current state. Right now, we have Pelting Hail that says, when night begins, each hero who is not either hidden or at a location with a place keyword loses 1 health. So, I have 5 health. I'm feeling good. I've got, let's say I started off with 5 actions. And my first action, I move and I run into... Where is that bastard? I hate him so much. Where is he? He's in a forest location, isn't he? He's in a forest location. There he is. And I run into this happy gentleman. This Reaper that rolls 5 dice against you and has a trap that... And what happens with traps is they immediately trigger when you reveal the card. Trap is immediately triggered like an event. Sacrifice 1 asset or discard 1 rumor. If you don't have a rumor, sacrifice an asset. If you don't have either, it doesn't matter. But he's going to roll 5 dice against me. And this Reaper rolls 5 dice against me, and he hits me for 5 successes because that's how I roll dice against myself. So I lose all my health and all my actions. I then relocate to Sprawl City, lose all my gold, discard an asset or a rumor that I have, gain 2 health back, and my day is over. Oh, but wait. Pelting Hail is there. My day is over. I'm not hidden in a location with a place, and Sprawl City doesn't have the keyword place. Pop. I lose another health. And so my next day, I start with just 1 health. So what can I do? Well, I don't have any gold, so I'm going to rest, and that'll end my day. So then the next day, I've got 2 actions. All right. I can rest, but I need money and I need to keep moving, so I'm going to hide and then I'm going to move. Or I could just say I'm going to rest and then I'm going to hide so I don't get Pelting Hail again. So you see how the game can work against you if you're not careful. Alright. So we talked about strangers, we talked about enemies, we talked about events. We talked about rumors. Rumors. Alright, so let's go over to our bard here. So we've got 2 rumors in his hand. He's still at chapter 1. And he has used up all his fate. So he's got no fate left. You can actually use rumors as fate. So that means I've got 2 fate, actually. So well, let's say I have to do some type of confrontation or something, and I rolled poorly. The fate rules still apply where you can only spend 1 fate per day. So I can use one of my rumors as fate to say whether I'll pass or not. So just keep that in mind. Rumors are fate. I'm assuming that enemies, guests, etc. stay on the location they enter until they are defeated, correct? Until they are defeated or until a card tells you to get rid of them. And there are some cards in here that do that. Alright. But yes, correct. Let's talk about obstacles. So, I will pull a knight card. That annoys me. Oh god, I hate that card too. Boom. So, some knight cards like to do fun things. Like this weather condition. When it's revealed, place 1 obstacle at each location for each quest it has. And when a quest enters play, place an obstacle on it. And then the Dark Mire falls into Gloom, which, since it is a Badlands, it would forward the Abyss's machinations. But, let's say this is the Dark Mire, which is here, would fall into Gloom. This weather condition would get rid of pelting hail, thank God. But it would come in and it would say, put an obstacle on any location that has a quest. So let's say that one's in play. That would get an obstacle on it, which is the little cloud thingy. What ends up happening is, when the cloud thingy drops on here, you cannot confront this quest until you clear that obstacle. And I want you to consider clearing obstacles as a waste of actions in your life. So once again, let's go back to the scenario. She finally got 3 health, and she's able to survive. So the first action she's going to do is to move, and because there's already an encounter there, she doesn't have to draw a new one. But she cannot confront that encounter because there's an obstacle on it. So she has to spend an action to remove this obstacle. That's all it takes. And when you remove an obstacle, you immediately go to the loot bag to draw something. It's a reward. You get a reward for spending your action. So you waste an action to clear an obstacle, but you get some loot for it. And then after you clear that obstacle, you can then confront that encounter. Make sense? So, yes, everything stays on the board until you defeat it or it's removed in some way. There are some cards that say remove an enemy or an obstacle or a quest from play. Alright. So, the land of Kilforth is diverse, and you have traversed it all like the crazy, insane person that you are, and the game is getting close to the end. And there are... And let's just say you overcame those 3 obstacles. So there are 3. And let's say you're playing solo, true solo. Let me get rid of these so you don't have to deal with that. So you are true solo, playing 1 player, one-handed, and you have solved all of your... I don't care which ones these are, because I'll leave you to discover these beautiful secrets on your own. But you discover all that stuff. You've solved this, and you've gotten your trophy. And you're ready to end as soon as you get your trophy and you're playing solo, the ancient appears on their intended location. It says it at the bottom of their card, okay? So you've got everything that you're going to do. You got yourself a title. You got yourself an ally. So 1, 2, 3. I'm just randomly doing this, okay? So you've gone through the game and you've got some spells. You built yourself up a little bit stronger. You're feeling good. You're feeling good about yourself. Oh, that worked out. You're feeling good about yourself, and you're like, I'm ready to fight the ancient. And there are, I don't know, a couple days left, and it's time to take on the ancient. So what you do is you're going to have to move, and let's say, just going to say that you have, what's it? 5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. So you have 8 health, 8 actions. You're just stupidly powerful. You feel like you cannot be touched, and you're amazingly strong. You spend the necessary actions you need to get to the ancient's location, and then you have to clear everything before you fight the ancient. So if there is, if you go to a location with an ancient, and there's a plot and a rumor here, you have to draw an encounter. And let's say that encounter is a quest. And let's say because of that, that quest gets an obstacle. You got to clear all of that before you can fight the ancient. You can't just go straight into fighting. So that means you'd have to spend an action, clear the obstacle. You'd have to spend how much ever actions, let me say 2, to clear the encounter. And then you can choose whether you're going to clear the plot if you want. So let's say you're going to clear the plot. So it says to lose 1 health, which means you'll lose an action. So you clear that. And then it's just you and the ancient. It's just y'all there on the card. So you're going to spend an action to confront the ancient. Now, what you do when you confront the ancient is just going to be you and the ancient. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your ancient's ability card, and then you're going to look around on the board for any plots that correspond to your ancient that are still in play and grab those 2. And the first thing you're going to do now is you're going to read the ancient's ability card. Well, it says map trap. So immediately when battle starts, sacrifice 1 spell. So I need to lose a spell. Cool, I'm going to lose this spell. It's gone. I had to sacrifice the spell that I had. Then it says the Abyss of Penance gains +1 maximum health and current HP for each quest in play. So that means there are quests in play. Well, there was 1 quest still in play that I left off, so her health of 11 goes to 12. Then it says when battle rounds start, every battle round that starts, the Abyss heals 1 health. So if I can't kill her straight out, she's going to heal, and then we're going to keep fighting. HP damage stays on the Abyss of Penance after each battle, and should we ever go to the night phase, bad things happen. So combat is, you're locked in combat until somebody wins, but there are some ancients that trigger night phase. Especially if you play 2-player co-op, night phases can happen. So then you go to these cards, the plots that were left in play, and you say, okay, what else does she get? Well, she gains 2 more health, so that 12 goes to 14. And you cannot heal HP at all because she shuts down any healing that you have. So now she has 14 health. She rolls 6 dice. And I, based on what I pulled here, will only roll 2, 4, 5 dice. And I can't heal, so that's not going to help me. And I can't deal with any of that other stuff. So I would roll 5 dice against her 6. And I have 8 health. She has, 14? And we fight to the death. So you roll dice. And see what happens. Well, she hits me for 2. I hit her for 1, so she goes down 1 health. But in the round, she heals 1, so she goes back up to full health. But I take 2 damage. And then you just keep rolling until somebody wins. You use abilities. You track different stuff. You just do everything you can to build yourself up to strength to fight this Abyss. I think the best I've done against her, when I fought her, I one-shotted her. And it was beautiful. I think I rolled 10 dice against her. And I was able to double the damage and I one-shotted her. So there are ways to beat her. It sounds insurmountable, but you can. If you're playing true solo, once you defeat the ancient, you win the game. If for whatever reason the ancient defeats you, or the night cards run out, you lose the game. Game's over. So those are your 2 loss conditions. Is that making sense? I ran through a lot, and I believe I covered a ton. Let's see. We did regaling. We did market. Oh, I didn't do a market action. I'll show you how to do market actions. We did resting. We did clearing obstacles. We did everything else except for market action. Can you run from her? Yes. And we could talk about running from combat. Sure. So market actions and running from combat. How about that? All right. So, yeah, you can run from her. But that'll end your day, and then that'll trigger the night ability. So let's talk about market actions. So you're in this game, you've revealed a bunch of stuff, and you're doing a bunch of things, and you're walking around. Well, at some point, you make your way back to Sprawl City. And you say, okay, I want to perform a market action. So as your market action, you spend one action that you have as a market action. You look at these reward decks, and you pick one. And you say, okay, well, my keyword, or I know what I'm fighting, or whatnot, I need items. You will draw 3 cards from the items deck, place them all in front of you, and then pick one to buy for the exact cost. Oopsie. For the exact cost that's at the bottom right. So that means this speed potion, which has potion keyword that is special, which means you can only have one potion keyword. That you have to spend 2 gold. Or for this Perdition's Amulet with the jewelry special keyword that you can only have one of, you have to spend 5 gold. And when you buy it, it immediately comes down into your play area as an asset. So you don't have to go find it. You don't have to play that game. You don't have to search for rumors all over the place. You just, it immediately becomes an asset to you. You buy it from the market. The other 2 cards that you don't buy go into discard of their respective decks. They don't get shuffled back in. They are discarded. You can only perform 1 buy market action per action. So let's say, example, I spent 1 action to perform a market action. I had a stupid amount of money, and I spent that 5 gold to buy it, and I've got 4 gold left over. I could spend another action to perform another market action. And this time I can say, okay, well, I want allies, so I'm going to draw 3 allies. Look at the cards that I want. I've already got pious keywords, so I can't buy you. So let's do this one, the Necromancer, and I'm going to spend 4 gold to get that, and then discard the other 2. So each action, you could perform a market action. But in each market action, you can only buy once. Let's just say, okay, well, I performed those 2 market actions. I bought those. Okay, now I want to sell some stuff. Well, this Perdition's Amulet, I bought it, but I really don't care for it. You can sell it, but you only sell it for half price rounded down. So right now, this amulet is 5. I spent 5 gold on it, but when I sell it, I'm only going to get back 2. You don't get back the full 5. You get back half rounded down. So that's market actions. You can also, as a market action, rest, which will get you 1. So let's say I got 2 gold left over after doing all that market stuff, and I've taken 2 damage before I got to the city. Well, when I perform a market action, I can spend 2 gold. I can spend 1 gold to heal once, or I can spend 2 gold to heal for 2. So 1 gold per heal. Do not, and I repeated this earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Don't do the, I'm going to spend 1 gold, do something else, and then spend another gold. You can only perform that action once. Right? So you have to compound how much you're going to spend. Well, then it's, okay, well, I need 2 health. Well, I'm going to spend 2 gold to heal for 2. And that's it. You can't do it again after that, within that action. So that's that. Okay, running away from combat. So I'm fighting the brigand, and things are not going well. The brigand is beating the tar out of me, and I'm about to die. I can run from him. When you run from combat, and you can do this in any combat that you have, when you run from combat, you immediately move to an adjacent location, and your day is done. I don't care how much actions you have left. If you got 30 actions, if you got 2, your day is done. All actions end when you run. When can you sell to the market? Anytime or just before buying? You can sell during your market action. So your market action are the 3 things that you can do in any order. You can rest, buy, or sell in any order, but you can only perform those 3 things once. You can rest once, you can buy once, and you can sell once per action. So you don't have, there's no order to it. You can pick any way you want to do it. You can pick 2 out of 3. You don't have to do all of them. You can just go to a market and just sell and be done for your action. So, yep. Yeah, so running away, your day ends immediately. All right. Now, here's a really cool thing. Enemies. Enemies and enemy weaknesses. I'm a powerful, powerful Dark Elf War Mage now, and I've run into this zombie enemy. You can sell as many items as you want for one action. You can sell as many items as you want, but you have to do it all in that one action. So I've run into this enemy that is a zombie enemy undead mountain. But notice here, it says map weakness, highest. What this means is, because I'm a powerful, powerful war mage, I've accumulated a lovely, lovely, lovely ally that's a healer that gave me a nice keyword called pious. What this means is, should I have any keyword that matches a weakness on an enemy, I automatically defeat that enemy, and it didn't even cost me an action to do it. Free. You beat him for free. You get a free defeat of an enemy. So I run into a zombie who says his weakness is pious. I have the pious keyword. I do what's called a deed overcome. Deed, free action, overcome, defeat. And I defeat this enemy, and then I go into the defeat proceedings of an enemy. I either keep the card, or gain what's at the bottom. I either gain a gold, or go to the loot bag. So, keywords are important because they can also undo enemies very easily. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I answered that one. So you can sell as many items as you want, but it has to be all at once. You can't break it up. So if I wanted to sell 2 items, I could do it. You will just, and don't add up and take half. You have to do half of each item you're selling. So, for instance, if you say, well, I'm going to sell this amulet, I'm going to gain 2 gold. I'm going to sell this ally, I'm going to gain 2 gold. So it's not going to be 9 and then you gain 4. You have to do it that way. Even though it amounts to the same sometimes, you have to do it that way. 99% of the time. So that is deed overcoming. I'm trying to think of what else. I think that's it, though. Lost condition I talked about. Yeah. That's the game. And then you just play through rounds until you win or lose. So, as you saw me moving through, my recommendations of this is always, if this is your first time playing and you're not in YOLO mode, always hide. And here's a lovely reason why you should always hide. Hey, look at this guy. This guy says, when a battle starts, perform a study 2 test. If you fail, the Minotaur suffers no HP loss during this entire battle. Yay! Isn't this a crazy card? There are cards in here that will drive you bonkers. This one right here is devastating to my life because it's basically, okay, so now what ends up happening is, check this out. So here's how this card is terrible. So let's say this card is at Spire Tour. And I had moved into Spire Tour without hiding because, YOLO. Well, now I have to do a study 2 test. Well, my study is, and I don't have all these sagas. Well, my study is 3. Cool. And I need 2 successes. Oh, look. Now, I could spend the fate to make it a success so I don't have to deal with it. But let's say I didn't. And I didn't get the successes that I needed. So now this enemy, who has surprise on you because you chose not to hide, is going to roll 5 dice against you, and you can't hurt it for the entire fight. So now it's going to roll 5 dice against you, nothing you can do about it, and come what may, you have to run away because you can't hurt him. You have to run away. So you run away, and guess what? Your day is over. Oh, but you landed in a place that was in gloom, so you lose a health. Oh my gosh. So the game is very well scaled to beat you up. The toughness is there, but it's also a lot of fun. Which game is easier? Shadows or Gloom, or are they about the same? They're about the same. They're the same only in base. Shadows adds factions, so the night cards affect your factions, but they are same in terms of difficulty. Honestly, you can add variants to this game that can help or hurt you if you want. So you can do so. The variants of this game are one. You can say, okay, when you start your game, 3 locations already in Gloom, and you flip over 3 night cards and just flip those locations into Gloom. Plots do not drop on that on the initial 3. So let's say for the Abyss who owns the Badlands, if I flip over a Badlands, I don't place a plot. I just flip over the Badlands. There's also the Couch of Death mode where there is no Sprawl City. There's just this place called Couch of Death, and you cannot perform market actions unless finding cards in here that lets you perform market actions. So basically, it shuts down the market. Steven likes that one a lot. There is my own variant where 4s count as partial successes. So if I roll these dice and I get a 4 and a 6 and a 4, then that is 2 successes because 2 4s make a success, right? But it also works for the enemy. So if the enemy rolls an attack against you and rolls a 4, a 4, a 6, and a 5, then it's 1, 2, and then 2 partial successes. The enemy hits you for 3. So that is my rule to balance out the 5, 6 bad rolls to make it a little bit more interesting. That is the Canje. That's the Canje variant. But that in a nutshell is Gloom and Kilforth. There are cards supersede book rules. However, there are specific things, and one of them Stephen wanted me to talk about. Was it the halfling? Yes, it was the halfling. One of the things that Stephen wanted me to talk about was the halfling ability. And the halfling ability states, when you enter a plane's location or Sprawl City, become hidden. Alright? So he wanted me to talk about this because this is a rule a lot of people get wrong. 1. If you are in a group... Where's that guy? Where are you? If you are in a group, and yes, as a duo, you can group up. If you are in a group, when this ability is negated, so that means that it says if you both enter a plane's location and you're in a group, you can't hide. Sorry, because you're in a group. They can't hide, so they see them, and in turn see you. So that ability is negated. When you're in a group play, so if you're working co-op, let me explain that one, and I'll go back and read these in a second. When you're in a group and you confront, so let's say I'm fighting the Minotaur, and I'm the elf, and I'm fighting the Minotaur, and the halfling happens to be there. Well, can you help me? Sure. For the cost of an action, I will add 1 die to your trouble, and that's it. That's what helping is. I just add 1 die to you. That's it. Alright, so let's see. House rule. Is this house rule 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 2 successes? Enemies only hit on a 7. That's funny. Gloom of Kilforth in a nutshell. Quite a big nutshell, the size of a small moon. Who plays with other people? Ew. I know, right? No, but just keep that in mind. Yes, you can play this game true solo, and yes, it does scale just fine. If you're playing true solo, you just got to beat the 1 ancient. You're done. If you're playing 2-player, both of you have 2-player co-op. Both of you have to defeat both of the ancient. Well, you have to defeat both ancients to win the game, and so on and so forth. If you're playing competitive, one of you has to defeat their ancient, and then that person wins. Don't play competitive in this game. It's annoying. Play co-op or solo. Let's see. I think I've explained everything. Yeah, I think I went through it all. Let me run through the list just to make sure. I talked about deeds, overcoming, resolving, team-ups. I talked about testing stuff. I talked about rewards in the loot bag, engaging people, trophies, restrictions. Yeah, the rule of sixes. I talked about that. Ah, I did miss something. I got another thing to talk about. If this is all the Gloom stuff, have you played Veilwraith, and if so, what do you think? Funny thing, Mike. I have an entire video, an entire series on my channel of me beating the core box of Veilwraith. I've played it all. So if you want to see Veilwraith, it is in. If you look on my channel, Canje Studios, and you look at the playlists, Veilwraith is in there, and that's me beating the entire core box. I play vignettes 1 through 5 and beat it. I have the expansion, and I think I've played some of the expansion, but one of the expansion of vignettes is really hard, and that's where I stop. But I love it. I think it's great. But yes. I think I got a good idea of how to play now. I will reread the rules, which will make more sense then. Thanks. No problem. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm definitely not, if I've confused you more. Ask questions if I have. I will try my darndest to explain. The rules here will tell you this is the part that I didn't go through. So let's grab a spell. This perfect one. So let's say you draw a spell, and you see this symbol with the lock on it. What that means is if you do not have this amount of whatever the symbol is, for this one it's study, if you do not have this amount, you cannot use, this spell will be an asset, but you can't use it. It will be locked to you until you have 4 study. So for instance, for my Dark Elf, who only has 3, if I picked a class that didn't give me that 4th, I could buy Acid Cloud, which is an amazing spell. But I could buy Acid Cloud, but I cannot use it, and put it down as an asset even. But I cannot use it until I have 4 study. So that's what that lock means. That's it. That's what that means. No, you did a good job helping for sure. It was a big help. Alright, thanks. Until I muddle through a game, most of this won't stick. I keep buying other games because I don't want to serve entrance. Yeah, and I'm the same way. I'm a learn by doing, but hopefully this clarifies a lot of the rules. Hopefully this clarifies a lot of the things that people don't think about. I went through some little known rules that people don't think about, so that works. So I just went through that. I've gone through all the actions. Every action I've gone through. The game's 25 rounds. If you lose, on the end of the 25th day, if you haven't beaten the ancient, you lose. We did setup. We did game flow. We did it all. And that's Gloom and Kilforth. This is what the game's gonna look like. No, probably what the game's gonna look like when you're done playing is gonna be like. It's going to be cards everywhere, but it's going to be such a good time because you're going to say, okay, I need to do this, and I need to go over here, and all that. Was what I needed, and you filled some gaps. However, I will need to be able to try it myself until later this week. Too many other games on queue. No problem, Frederick, as long as it provides some help. Indeed. So that is going through it. I've done quite a few playthroughs with myself. Steven and I have done playthroughs. There's also the Hall or Nothing website, the Hall or Nothing Discord, and the Hall or Nothing Facebook page. Steven is always on the Hall or Nothing Facebook page answering any questions. I used to be on there a ton. I'm not on there as much as I should be for the group expert title that I have. But I come on there from time to time to answer questions. But Steven's on there, always willing to help. There is the Hall or Nothing Discord where I and Steven are on, but Steven's also on there actively answering questions on Kilforth. He has given me a challenge. Steven's given me a challenge. The challenge is combine Gloom of Kilforth, and Shadows of Kilforth to play a massive campaign. He is doing that actively and recording it so that he can release it on his channel. And he has a YouTube channel that he's starting up, so go check that out. It's called An Excuse for Gaming, I believe. But he has a channel that he's doing a big run, and he's challenged me to do the same. So I think I'm going to find a time where I could play for a very long time to play a massive game of all of it combined. And when Call of Kilforth delivers, I think that's what I'm going to wait for. I'm going to wait for Call of Kilforth and then combine it all into one. And then play one massive game one day as like a thank you or something for all the subs. I know we're approaching my next number for us to go through another live stream of some sort. So okay, all right. Well, that is the world of Kilforth and all its greatness. Tristan has done a fantastic job creating this game. A lot of thought went into it, and I love this game. I think this is amazing. I've played a ridiculous amount. Probably, I don't even remember how much of this game I've played, but I've played a lot. I've beaten every ancient. I've played every character. I've played every saga. And I still keep coming back to this game. So it's my number one game of all time. If you want to know, look at my previous videos and it'll explain to you why. Gladys Dice and the Pips. I love it. Great tutorial. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. If I missed anything, is there more games in the series coming? Call of Kilforth, which is going to deliver sometime this year. It's in production right now. And Tristan has on his website, he has some. He doesn't reveal much. The man is stone, I tell you. Let's go back down to the table. Let me pull up my D&D. This. Grab a new window. And I'll move this guy over here. And let's go to his website so I can show y'all how you know what's coming. We'll go to All or Nothing Productions. So it's All or Nothing Productions.co.uk. And if you go there, let me share my screen on my random window capture. Grab this. And okay. And show my window. There we go. And I'll put back up the chat just in case I have to answer. Okay, so on his website, if you come over here to upcoming games that's up here, you'll see Creel Manor's coming. You'll see Call of Kilforth coming. And you see the Sublime Dark that he doesn't want to talk about. That I'm like, why don't you want to talk about it, man? Talk about it. Let's have a conversation. But here is the thing that matters. You come over here to his All or Nothing game slate. And on this game slate, awesome. Okay. On this game slate, you see the games that he's made. His first game, Gloom of Kilforth. This was his first game that he made. He made some other games. He made some expansions. Lifeform wasn't his game, but he published it with a friend. Shadows of Kilforth is there, so that's there. Veil Wraith is there. 1815 Scum of the Earth delivered, which I got. Then this is Call of Kilforth, which is the next iteration. Then he has Creel Manor. Then he blanked out Rift Symphony, not Rift Symphony, Sublime Dark, because he's cruel, and I love you so much, Tristan. But he created this one here called Rift Symphony. And I don't know what that is. It could be another Kilforth World game. It could be something completely different and brand new that we've never seen before. But he's being ridiculously tight-lipped about what this is. And we don't know. So we have to wait and see. But that's what's coming up. And maybe one day he'll tell me. But Creel Manor's coming up, which is a Veil Wraith game. And I'm definitely gonna get that game. I'm going to buy that because I like Veil Wraith. It's a lot of fun. But if you're interested in buying the published games that he has of the Kilforth series, there they are right there. There's the 3 of them. There's the price list for them in pounds, if you want to get them, and he'll deal with international shipping. For Veil Wraith, there is the base game, which comes with 5 vignettes, and then there is Absolution, which comes with 15 more vignettes that you can get. And then there's this one, which has some of the racier art in it. But like I say, racy doesn't mean slimy. It just, instead of her having a full shirt, she has a halter top on. There's the playmat, which, yes, I have the playmat. And then there is his historical battle system series that he's created for, that he's been releasing over here that you could check out. And then there's Lifeform, if you're interested in playing it. Lifeform is basically Alien, the first one, the board game, and it is very thematic. So those are those ones. All right. Okay. So cool. This is gonna be a great series to come into and get. So hopefully this tutorial has been helpful as you see me run through around 2 rounds of the game as well as explaining a bunch of different stuff. I did want to keep going and play the game, but no. I will leave you to discover the mysteries of Kilforth on your own. And that will be all. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you to my patrons, my YouTube subscribers. If you're neither, and you don't want to be, and you just want to come in and hang out, thank you and welcome as well. You're always welcome at the table. You do not have to be a member if you don't want to. Just come in, hang out, let's play some board games, and have a good time. Coming up tomorrow, Kate, Cynthia, and I are starting our Edge of the Earth campaign, which is going to be great. They're going to live, I'm going to die, and we're going to have a good time. Other than that, we'll have some good times for everything else. Just remember, everybody, I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. See y'all later. Bye.